Hello.
Hello.
Oh wow. You okay? All right. Okay. I just wasn't sure if what I was hearing was from the StreamYard. I did just mute the YouTube. Um, right now, I'm the only one that's apparently watching on YouTube. This is the thing. A lot of my guys they don't come right on time.
That's
Even
okay.
yeah, but it's funny because I'm probably like I know everybody. Everybody teases Nick about being like late and gay and all that,
Of
not
course.
being on time all the time. I'm probably and I know, and I've seen there are a number of YouTubers who are not exactly like, you know,
Punctual?
yeah. I'm probably one of the few who actually is, but it takes like 10 to 15 minutes before people will actually, get in here at the earliest. But
Gotcha. Well, there's usually an accord that usually follows with live broadcasting and broadcasting in general. And hopefully one day the rest of the YouTubers will understand and learn this very important aspect of things. And of course, everyone's building up their audience. So it just takes time.
yeah, well, even Backgoat had mentioned to me before that a lot of times there are other people who are streaming and sometimes now granted I've actually as I've been sitting there waiting for people to come and stuff like that before,
Mm-hmm.
I would go and look, like I know some and the time and I understand the time I start here 7 p.m. Pacific, 10
Mm-hmm.
I know there are a number of like Ethan Van Skyver does his around this time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Ethan's Ethan. He's probably eating pies, and everyone seems to be enjoying that. But one of the few things I will tell you is that Action Toys really enjoys your content, and they promote it as much as they possibly can when they can,
Yeah.
type of thing. Unfortunately, I didn't do any preparation for advertisement for today's show, just because everything has been extremely hectic as of late. But I
Yeah.
am glad to hear and broadcast
Yeah.
with you
Well,
on this fine
if you
Devil's Night evening.
yeah, if you can even go on the YouTube page and help by liking and sharing that,
Well, you know
that'd
what?
help.
For you, free of charge, I'll be more than happy to crush that actual like button and ask people to politely subscribe to your wonderful, fantastic
Yeah.
channel,
Thanks.
and that
Oh,
would be wonderful.
that reminds me
Oh,
too. That reminds me of one more thing. I don't
mm-hmm.
know if you've seen my channel.
Of course,
Take
it's
a
in your
look.
channel,
Take a
Mike.
look at the subs.
Okay, I can't do that right now. Can you tell me what it is?
Well, I had recently got into the triple digits.
Did you really? Well,
I'm at
shit, Mike.
102.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I
You're
went
welcome.
like what was it about a week or so ago? I went on Nick Street, when he was doing the call-in shows,
Yeah.
and I called in. Of course, I got roasted by people that saying, "Oh, his nasally voice doesn't sound good." That so I got
Oh,
roasted.
they always say a lot of stupid things on YouTube until they have to start doing their own content. One of the few
Yeah,
things I will give you props for, Mike, right out of the gates here, is that you're here broadcasting when you can, as often as you can. And the thing is that says a lot to your character, your producing aspect of things. Plus, on top of that, every time I've come on your show, I always feel welcomed and informed, and basically having that even as a floor manager for a television station, especially the many television stations I've been a part of, is not an easy task into itself. And the thing is that I've been involved in the YouTube game since 2007. I've seen them come, I've seen them go. And Mike, you're an upstart individual, and people who miss your actual broadcasts, when it comes down to it, that's really their problem. It takes time
yeah.
to grow an audience, especially in
Oh,
today's
I know.
overcrowded social media platform, but you're doing
Right,
all the right things.
right. Well, Tug is said that too, like in some of my cover, like with my VA profiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've caught any of those. I've done a lot of
Every once in a
which
while, yeah.
which actually I'm gonna be doing my 60th episode of that on this Sunday.
Yeah.
I figured I'd end at 60, just one so I could focus more on the live streaming, but also I was pretty much running out of material because particularly up in like up with the Calgary like with the Calgary-based voice actors, the ones who work at a Blue Water.
Okay.
Not as many of them, and also there's not as much information on as many of them. So and what I did was I basically would profile each of what I called the 6 dub capitals, but
Okay.
you know but but I'm still, of course, I still will be doing the Squared Circle Calendar Pro Wrestling retrospect for that. But basically, and like I kind of told you how I got started.
Of course.
I've basically been on had a YouTube account since 2013, but I didn't start uploading videos till last year
a lot of people do that too, so it's totally understandable.
Because when a lot of the Dick stuff was going down and stuff like that, and I told you the story. I kind of shared some information with Flash, and his response to it was pretty good. So, we got 2 people. Hello, second person. It looks like I just saw.
Look at that! Look at that! It's now. It's just the 4 of us, just streaming all the time on the YouTube.
Oh, they left again.
No, you have to come back and watch the Mikestand. No, it's cool.
But but basically, as I said, I was just but when I got into it, obviously I realized I had things that I could probably there's a lot of information I know that a lot of people don't, or maybe it's just so. Oh, the second person's back. Hello, second person.
Hello.
And of course, I do appreciate all the likes. Hey, it's Batgoat. Hey, Batgoat.
Is Batgoat here? Oh,
yeah. Batgoat's
can we get
here.
Batgoat on the stream if that's okay?
Sure. If Batgoat, you ready to go? You want to come on? Just give me a sec here. Let's see now. See if I remember how to do this. Well, I do this almost every week, so.
Yeah.
Well, because what I do is when I don't have guests, I'll just invite.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah.
Nice haircut. Okay. Oh, okay. So let's see. Nice haircut, Mike. What are the nails looking like tonight, Mr. Hop?
The nails tonight are all natural. Reason being is that the wonderful black nail polish I've been using recently seems to be chipping off faster than a beaver through a great oak. So I'm basically determining what color is for
maybe
next.
He got knocked off or something like that because we went back down to 1
It's
again.
quite possible because remember, this is the fun part of doing broadcasting live for the very best technology the 1990s could possibly offer anybody.
Yeah, I have to clean up first though. Wasn't expecting to laugh out. Yeah, well,
Batgoat, get your stuff together. Go out there, make your butt get pretty, and get your ass back here. And we'll all just sit and chit chat and have some fun with Mike here.
Yeah. Well, we were talking last week about, Batgoat possibly becoming like my co-host on Friday nights.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I do.
Of course, it's cool.
That's cool. Yeah. just simply because I do better more in a conversation style format where I'm actually the interaction with people. But one of the big things I try to like. There are a couple of C words I focus on here.
Okay, like connection
and communication.
That's awesome. That is cool.
Okay, give me 2 minutes. Okay, Batgoat. I'll probably see you at some point. So. But so
we're talking about connections and communications.
Yeah, those are two of the, like, as I said, I started uploading because for me, I knew I was probably even more of a boomer than Nick and hey. Okay,
the way I look at it, if you're doing your best, you haven't screwed up. So the whole adjective of the terminology of boomer here's something I'm quite new to, if you know what I mean. Because the thing
Yeah.
is that
Well, for me, it's like
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if I could do it. Like I'm doing it on my laptop here.
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't sure if I could ever, ever do it,
Mhm.
if I could do it because if I had enough of the technical know-how to make sure it gets done right and all that. And then I just decided, something. I think, and that's when I started doing more of these stagnant videos.
Yeah.
And then back in July, there I figured I'd try some trial streams, and then I went from that to doing the doing the
Different.
transitioning from the
Yeah.
on the mic stagnant videos to the Mikestand live streams.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I just do like niche news coverage throughout the week, and then
Mhm.
on Fridays hopefully have interviews slash panels. To have the kind of the back and forth. Have like 3 or 4 people in here, us all kind of talking, sharing,
Yeah.
points and all
And,
that.
and the thing is that this is the best and this is the best thing about doing live broadcasting. Because the thing is that a lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to put this together. It's more than just hopping in, talking on a mic type of thing. There's a lot of prep that goes behind this. Plus, on top of that, some days you just don't want to do anything.
Oh yeah,
And the
I
thing is
know.
that it's very, very trying. And the
I
best thing that you could do
Yeah.
is just be yourself and
Mhm.
have a good time doing it. And that is very, very important, because a lot of people kind of forget about that, because after a while it gets kind of, how can I put this? It's sort of like maintaining an audience, and
Mhm.
then sometimes you get something, sometimes you don't, and you just got to focus on what you like and move it from there. And plus, on top of that, you got to have your different goals as well. If you don't achieve
Right.
those goals, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that, but you just got to figure out how long you want to run with something, and that's also very
Mhm.
important. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like
complicated, it's
one of
involved.
the things one of the things I'll do, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I do a lot is I'll be like coming back and looking through the comments and actually trying to interact with people. I probably
Mhm.
do that more than a lot of, but then I understand too, like I know Tug, like people like Tug and Yellow Flash, and even you guys to kind of a lesser extent can't do that as much
Oh, I
because you
can't do
guys
that
have
at all.
larger
My
audience.
eyesight is so horrible these days. I'm just lucky to find the mouse and click the right mouse button and just move forward to do what I do best, type of thing. And I usually let the interaction, I usually let Crumb do the interaction stuff, because again, this is a new part of broadcasting, which is really unprecedented, because it used to be
Mhm.
when you watch TV, it's like, a talking head staring down the barrel of an actual of a lens, and just talking what's on their mind. The whole interaction part is something that's brand new. Plus, on top of that, it gets even more complicated because it's all raw. There's no filter, so that there's no give and play. Like, someone wants to jump on and say, "Hey, you people are stupid." It's like, wow,
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
awesome.
Hey, Bat
Well,
Goat.
hello there.
Hang on 1 second. Okay, all right. Hello, hello.
Well, hello,
Hello.
Hello.
Bad Goat. This is the first time we've met.
Just
Greetings
3 of
and
us in the studio and
salutations.
2 of us on
Officially,
YouTube.
I've
Of course.
been a big fan of the Knuckleheads for a long time. You know
That's
that.
awesome. I
So it's
do.
good to talk to you like this, Mr. Hop. Good to
Exactly, because
see
the
you.
only time I get, only time I see is on Nick Ricada's stream there in the chat. And it's like, oh, there's Batgoat. Hey, how you doing? Oh, not bad, Mr. Hop. How are you? Lol.
Yeah, but then that chat is so fast
Of
and
course.
brutal.
And the thing
A
is that
Nick
I'm
chat can
lucky
be
I can
very
still see.
brutal.
I'm lucky I can still see the orange bar that floats all the way up the top, and my name gets mentioned. So it's like, hey, I know this person. Let's go say
Right?
hellos.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, good to see you tonight. I like the
Yeah.
haircut. You're looking real. Unlike me, I had to put a hat on and band up right here
I've
and
been
have
looking
to
a
shave
hat
my
too.
Yeah, it was
chin. And I
yeah,
had a couple
it was
beers tonight. I'm sorry.
right. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I just hope we don't go too crazy, but
I won't.
and
I won't.
of course I do appreciate the likes and the shares. Hopefully we can get some more people in here.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's just been a conversation with the three of us. If people catch the replay, awesome. If they happen to be part of
Oh,
the actual live
anonymity is
chat,
here.
even more
Hello,
awesome.
anonymity.
Ain't on here. That's fantastic.
Hey, evening, gents. Just got off heading home. Okay.
Awesome.
So slowly but surely, it usually lasts. But yeah, basically, when I got started, what was it like last year and stuff like that? I
Mhm.
figured I wanted to add to the conversation. I figured I could, get, you know, and I was telling him earlier how we were going over some of the older comic stuff from back in the 30s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that stuff. Yes. It's good stuff. Good stuff. I
Back in
love
the
it.
day when the salespeople knew exactly who their demographic was,
See you,
and
bro.
they could be able to go out and sell products to those peoples, and those people weren't happy with the products they were buying. They came back month after month to buy other aspects of what they were
Well,
selling.
Right.
well,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah. Well, even the language and word usage back then was far different than it is.
Oh, that's back in the day when education meant something, and basically the people who ran the city went, "Hey,
Well,
you know what? Making sure our kids are not stupid is probably a good investment to invest in, so they
well,
go out
well,
and build buildings and get involved with stuff. Just small things like that."
even manners wise, because one of the things I pointed out, I was reading the first couple of parts from a series in New Fun Comics 1 and 2
Yeah.
called Sandra of the Secret Service,
Okay.
and as part of that, what was happening in that story was a guy was trying to get away from some other guys who were shooting at him, so he kind of jumps in her car and in essence kind of kidnaps her, and then when the whole experience is over, when they get away from the guy still, well, thank you for your help, miss. You remember that back out when we saw that, or when I read through that?
I'm sorry, I was writing. I didn't pay attention. Which one? What I
when I
missed?
when we looked over the Sandra of the Secret Service story last week, and I pointed
Yes.
out how
Yes.
when after the guy got out of her car, how he said "Thank you, miss," and
Yes.
how I
Yes.
was talking
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah. You know I love that.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I love the old school things, and I think I told you before. My dad served in World War II on a sub, and because like I'm old and he was old when I was born, so like I get that stuff. I'm related to it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Well, here's and it was nowadays they're teaching communism ideologies in them leftist schools.
So true.
Yeah. So. Oh, anyway, we have a fourth person. Hello, fourth person. Well, maybe so,
Look at that. The numbers keep crawling up here on the mic stand.
I know.
Where's Crest?
Cress is getting her beauty sleep, I'm assuming. Reason being is that Cress has had a full week. Long story short, went to the hospital to get her cyst in her what started in the jaw and expanded like a football across her head, basically slowly closing the airwaves. So yes, hospital visit definitely in order. While she was there, she got super duper lucky. It managed to drain on its own occasion, and of course, immediately after that, again, dental work. Very important, kids. Keep your oral health at an all-time premium because that shit will sneak up on you and will kick you in the ass. Exactly what happened to our dear Crumb. And basically, she got 3 of her teeth extracted. So the good thing is that she's usually spitting blood out most of the time, but the physical aspect is finally neutralizing. So if she's not here, it's probably because of that. And of course, she will always send her condolences if she can't make a commitment. So
you let her know, you send her my love, and I want her to get better.
I will do no such thing. Why?
Okay,
because
well,
you could do that tomorrow yourself, bat goat. So,
that is true. That is true.
Because basically we're broadcasting
tomorrow,
6 o'clock Toronto time. So
which would be
All
3 p.m. my time.
Sure, I believe you. But however, that's when we're broadcasting for tomorrow's show, and tomorrow's show is the extra special Halloween special. Crumb will be reading tarot cards. I'll be giving away silly stuff live on the air. So
ghost stories.
Hopefully, maybe we don't know.
That one when was that? That was a couple months ago. Maybe
That
a little bit
was.
longer when she was telling the ghost stories about like when from the old days, like when they would go to houses and
Oh yeah,
do a
bury
little
people under
investigating.
concrete. Just make sure the shit stays down.
The one story about the skunk
Oh,
that kept like
it's Action
looking
Toys.
at them, it freaked me out. That
ATC's
was
in the
so
house.
weird.
Awesome.
ATC's in the
Hey,
house.
buddy.
What up,
Hello,
toys?
everyone. I hope
What
you're
up, boys?
well.
Well, basically, one of the few things I've been appreciating with some of the, just get off topic here really, really quickly. One of the things that Action Toys been doing recently, especially with toys bills, are looking better and better and better. So I look forward towards seeing that stuff that they post on Twitter at the same time on the YouTubes. So always fun to see the restoration.
I'm gonna have to look into that and make sure. Go to his channel.
Yeah, it hits that little nostalgic punch, if you know what I mean. It's always that's awesome.
Yeah.
Plus, Toys has got the 3D printer, so it's like I could do everything now. And I saw pink Lego blocks. I went, "Oh my god, I gotta have a whole shopping bag full of Lego blocks now." So that's just me being all silly. So, Mike, before we completely forget, what is today's theme? What are we talking about? You brought us here together.
We're talking about Halloween. I was just about to get to it. I figured it'd be a good time to start. Now we got like 5 people in here. So, well, 6 including yourself, because I don't think you're on the YouTube side of it. But I think in grand total we have 6 people, but 5. So basically, what I wanted to bring you and Cress on for, well, of course, I know her circumstances now, and I send my condolences as well. Hope that she gets her rest and is better tomorrow.
She's got a long day tomorrow.
What I wanted to do is I wanted to talk a little bit about, of course, Halloween niche. So why don't we take a trip back in time a little bit. So, and I guess I got you both in it now as guests. So, I guess Pat Goat, you can answer this too. What are some of your, whoever wants to start can go for it. What are some of your early memories growing up as a kid? Going out like trick or treating. What are some of your early Halloween memories?
For me, right off the bat, I have to say the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Me, that is classic. It's and as you with my age, it just we watched it every year, in the 70s.
Yeah, one of those.
That means Halloween to me.
Yeah. Did you hear what happened with that recently?
Mm-mm.
They're taking it off broadcast TV.
I did hear that. Yes.
Oh, actually, you may have heard it from me because I covered it the other day. In fact,
that's right. You did. Yeah, that's upsetting. That's very upsetting.
Hey, Mr. Hop, that goes to show you that even my head spins at times.
Yeah, no. The thing is that it's quite surprising what's happening with traditional broadcasting in today's time. It seems to be they're cutting back further and further and further away, and basically when it comes down to it, they're going to be whittling away so much that there's going to be nothing left after a while. Because one of the few things that both Mike and I were talking about before the show today is how up here in Canada they're going away from traditional broadcasting, and what they're doing is they're basically making everything more fiber optic and more streamlined, and more you need to have more oversight with things and stuff like that. And plus, on top of that, the cost of actually advertising has reached such a certain point that it is so expensive, no one could do it anymore. Plus, on top of that, from more of a I guess from more of a creative perspective, they're buying more magazine type like shows from the US in packages. So when basically a television station buys one show, they're buying at least 3 to 5 to fill their actual time up, which basically makes more original broadcasting more and more rare, if not completely non-existent. And I find it to be very troublesome, because it's like everything's now becoming, hey, we're going to buy shows from the US and we're going to put them on our timeline slot, and any Canadian content is being distributed. Who cares? Like, best example, back in the day, you had stuff like Mr. Dress Up. You had stuff like The Friendly Giant, all CBC broadcasting, plus Wampa Room, plus on top of that, back in the 80s, which was the best time for broadcasting.
Yeah.
There was stuff you can't.
I remember
Agreed.
Romper Room too.
Yeah, and
Mr. Hop,
Romper Room.
you might want to read this.
What's this? I can't read it. What's it say?
Oh, Action Toy Channels is thanking you.
Yeah,
I get
no problem. I give him a nice polite salute. I did pick up on that. So thank you very much, Toys. It's awesome. And somehow we got Batgoat back in the conversation here while he's live talking to us.
I sneak into the comments.
That's funny.
Maybe I shouldn't do that.
So basically it just goes to show there was a lot of real Canadian content that was out there, original broadcasting content, I may add, like as example, Can't Do That on Television, Circle Square, a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But due to what's going on today's time, everyone's buying more magazine oriented precast shows, which is absolutely deplorable.
What, Mr. Hop, I brought this up before, and I brought it up to Mike that all I do is watch cartoons, and
same here.
Netflix used to be good, and now
I
don't know where we're at. However,
goodness,
there's some wonderful Canadian cartoons. Inspector Gadget, the new Inspector Gadget, the Canadian Inspector Gadget is wonderful. It's on Netflix, and I highly suggest anyone watching that. It's a really, really good show. It's really funny. It's really smart, and it's not overly political and dumb. It's a great show.
Brian LeMay was the individual who invented Inspector Gadget. Plus, on top of that, made the 3 different henchmen that followed that. And back in those days, that was all groundbreaking. Plus, on top of that, with Brian LeMay, I went to the same art school that he was teaching at. Quite the interesting person when you see him face to face. I had to be very careful because he was a dick as an instructor. And the thing is that I almost got to the point that I came to the conclusion that I might be filling out paperwork in jail if I'm not too careful. So it got pretty brutal. It got very brutal.
Let me interject something here, because Anonymity just made an interesting comment here. When it used to snow on Halloween, so where you guys are at, is it snowing? Is it snowing right now?
Well, the thing is that we got off topic with animation, so I'll basically bring the things back to point. The biggest thing that I remember growing up doing Halloween is snowing. Basically, every year it snowed around the same time of year, which is basically at the end of October 31st. The weather temperatures just drop so hard that it just snows, and it's like awesome.
Well, one of the few things I think people like about Southern California, like where I'm from, is that we're still in the daytime in the 80s right now.
Yeah.
Today was like 80, 84, 86.
Oh gosh, yeah.
If you don't know Mr. Hop, Mike knows. I grew up there. I grew up in Santa Monica, California. I now live in Prior Lake, Minnesota, and we had 5 inches of snow last week. 5 inches. It was brutal. Like, so bad that I hit a curb with my all-wheel drive car, and like, time to put snow tires on, and had
get
a lot of money there, and and now it's warmed up.
You're in that part of the country where fall and winter are fall and winter.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's like the leaves are gone. Now it's time for snow. Okay.
but here's the thing. I videotaped it, took some pictures. We had this incredible blanket of snow, and it was wet, icky snow.
Oh gosh.
There was still the fall colors. The brilliant red colors.
Wow, what a contrast. That's awesome.
It was amazing. It was really cool to see.
That is
so
cool.
according to Anonymity, where he is, it hit 55 today. So
yeah. Well, it's getting so cold outside that I can now see my breath in the air now, which is.
What part of Canada are you in?
Southern Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah, but basically in Ontario, there's like Northern Ontario, Southern Ontario.
Okay.
Remember,
I'm a native to Manitoba.
Mr. Hop and Chris do
Right?
Kitchener
Gotcha.
Comic Con. That's what they're most famous for, is Kitchener Comic Con.
Yep. We basically brought
Oh,
some
I know.
much needed attention towards our little
They
event of
run
happiness.
Kitchener.
What's
That's
that? Sorry,
amazing.
go. What's that?
I said, no, I know. You guys run Kitchener, which is amazing. Everyone loves you.
Yep. The thing is that it's sort of funny how all this came to be, because, again, you know, when you're in a small city that we're in, like a twin city, this is Kitchener, Waterloo, we're always looking to try to push the envelope as we can, because we're artists, and at the same time, we think we're both sides of the brain, business as well as artistic. And it was kind of funny. 3:00 in the morning, I get a little knock on my door, and Cress is basically saying, I think we got Vic, and I went, well, how much does he want? And basically, Crumb throws me a number, and I go, why do we want to spend that much on Nick? This makes no sense. Nick's a YouTuber. He wants how much? What? He goes, no. That's for Nick. I kind of went, all right, we'll roll with that. Let's get Vic up here. And on top of that, I didn't think it was fair that Vic was gigs getting up here were getting harder and harder and harder. Plus, on top of that, all the stuff that Vic was going through was the exact same thing that I went through 6 years prior. And the thing is that I thought I was funnier and wittier than the combined intelligence of the internet, and I got that force fed up how can I say this? Up my sphincter. I went through 3 days of hell, which is absolutely over a color comic.
I think you guys might remember I did a few videos on your con as well when I was still doing it on the mic. You know, so I gave you guys some coverage as well, just giving my own.
And the things I remember Crumb telling me about that.
I watched a couple. I watched a few of the bids, and I definitely what I remember was Lady Rackets singing with Vic.
Oh, goodness gracious!
Came up on stage. Yeah, that was a great band. I like that.
Yeah, basically, Cress was a human mic stand. That's funny. And of course, Cress is all crying, going, "Oh!" It was just funny to watch. It was awesome.
It's a great video, though. It's like heartwarming. There's nothing wrong with that.
It is. Oh, there is absolutely nothing wrong with
so,
that.
Mr. Hop,
yes,
some of your early memories from growing up Halloween. I know we've been getting off topic here. So
well, no, exactly. We got to focus back on that, because heaven forbid we don't want to derail your show today. But the thing is, we could easily do a show sometime down the line if we want to do shop talk. That's definitely no problem at all. So basically, getting back to point, snow was a big one.
Mike, if I derail you, it's gonna be all about the Smurfs. You know how I roll.
We talked about that a few weeks ago, but anyways,
yeah. So basically, it's the snow. It's getting opened, unpackaged pieces of fruit with no razor blades in them. That was a big thing from back in the day. And of course, those really squishy, happy caramel chunks that came in the plastic wrappers. Those were always the best to have. And plus, on top of that, the biggest thing, and the biggest thing is that how many pillow sacks of candy can we get in one night?
Yes. Yes.
And also, don't forget the other aspect: defending your candy against bullies who wanted to double their actual loot. And he went, "No, this is mine. I'm going to keep all these candies." They're going, "What? You're standing up for yourself?"
And you melt you stick a pin in the hole of Barbasol shaving cream, and you melt it with the lighter, so the shaving cream shoots out like 20 feet, and that keeps the bullies away.
Well, there's always that, but how we're just standing your own ground, saying, "Nah, this is my candy. I ain't gonna give you nothing." And you gotta go, "Oh my gosh, this person's fighting back."
But then aren't all kids like that when it comes to candy? It's like
some of them are. Exactly. And the thing is that was the best part behind Halloween, and of course, dividing up the candies between, what was candy and toothbrushes. Who can forget about toothbrushes? Like, here we go, this candy. Here's a toothbrush. What the hell is this? So,
well, considering
or 5 pennies wrapped up in tinfoil, like, let's go back and egg their house tonight. Yeah, we got to TP them.
Yeah,
I never did that.
Of course not. No one did.
Anonymity just said something interesting here. Stash your candy at home and go for round 2.
Yep, it's who can get the most pillow sacks full of. Yeah,
pro level right there.
And then 13 sacks of candy in one night for me for Action ATC.
The most I got was 2, maybe 3. 13.
13's crazy, man.
It's like you get all the kids in the neighborhood together and say, okay, here's the deal.
I grew up in the suburbs of Santa Monica back in the late 70s, early 80s, and we could run around with pillow sheets and 13 sacks. Come on, like maybe 2. Like
exactly.
All the way up.
So I think someone's embellishing. I think they're saying, I got more candy than you did. It's like, well, I live in Southern Ontario, so whatever.
My grandma and your grandma
let's
by the fire. My grandma said to your grandma, I'm going to set your flag on fire. Talking about, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. I go, I name.
So yeah, those are my biggest memories of Halloween. So yeah,
good time. Another interesting question I have. When would you say you stopped trick or treating? How old do you think you were when you decided, I think I'm done with trick or treating. Trick or treating is just a kiddie thing or whatever,
For me, it became a transitional thing. What I mean by that, it became, let's go out and do trick or treating. Then it became, I got to give candy out to the kids. And then from there, it became, hey, let's go to Halloween parties and stuff like that. So that was the biggest thing with me. And the thing is, at the same time here around Halloween time, I run a zombie walk. So it's like, from that to this to that to zombie walk type of thing. And me at my age knocking on people's doors saying, hey, I like some free candy. Kind of gets a little bit awkward, if you know what I mean.
Oh, don't feel bad. I did it well into my early adulthood too. So
that's funny.
Me personally, about 13, 14, I remember going to junior high. I was in Lincoln Junior High, Santa Monica, California, in the early 80s. And when I talk about the shaving cream, making the long streams and eggs, we all dressed up like military, and south side of a certain street and the north side of a certain street, there was like gangs, and we used to have like fights, and people would try to nair each other from the trees, and like it was like when I think it was 13 when it turned into you stop trick or treating and you do the gang wars, which with just little kids running around throwing eggs at each other. Oh, we were pathetic.
Oh god, that sounds absolutely hilarious. What do toys have to say there? I kind of caught that briefly. Oh, there.
You see it?
I could see it, but I have problems reading it. What's it say?
True, I said sacks when I should have said garbage bags.
That's awesome.
That's mad respect, toys.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Okay, so what would you guys say are some of your more memorable Halloween costumes growing up? What would you say are some of your more memorable Halloween costumes growing up?
Want to go first there, Goat?
I know what I like as an adult, and I just came across these pictures from an SD card that I found on a camera.
Card. My gosh, that's so
SD card I found on a camera, and these pictures are about 10 years old now.
Oh, wow.
No, 12 years old. 2008 was this wedding. So a friend of ours got married, and I took hundreds of pictures, and most of them are bad, but a lot of them are really cool. I'm going to upload them.
That's cool.
So my friend, he got married on Halloween night, and so he's a big, tall dude. We like him, and he's kind of got a big forehead, receding hairline. So he dressed up as Frankenstein, and his wife dressed up as Bride of Frankenstein, and we all came there in costumes. That was like the deal about going to this wedding. It was super cool. I dressed up. At the time, I was still a paramedic, so put on the black suit. I put my little ear thingy, when I had a clean shaven face and short hair, my little ear radio thingy with a black suit and sunglasses, so I look like a Men in Black type of thing.
That's
and
cool.
then my roommate, he dressed
They
up as
are the Men in Black. Want you to remember.
and then our other two friends, they did like Pugsley, like Wednesday and Uncle Fester, and so like we were all in black, and it was just very cool. It was a fun night, and I remember that. I like that.
That's cool. That's cool.
So anonymity says here the itchiness of the werewolf hair costumes.
Well, basically, I can't really, I can't recall any outstanding Halloween costumes that I've had in the past. Recently, it's all been dressing up as little Jimmy 7, who's the level 8th necromancer for the whole zombie walk stuff. That's always fun to do. And the thing is that a lot of my stuff consists of going to live action role playing games, which consists of costumes in the first place in conjunction to characters. So the whole aspect of trying to remember what my favorite costumes were just gets blurred up after a while.
I know it's a little bit hard. I mean, even I don't necessarily remember all of the ones that, like, for me, like, as I told you, I went trick-or-treating well into my early adulthood there.
Yeah.
Basically, like, as an older teenager into my adulthood, I just simply, just dressed like all in black and just went out as my own dark persona trick or treating.
Oh, that's awesome! Hi,
good for you.
Give me candy. Just
or else.
Take it.
Just a black shirt, black jeans, black leather jacket, kind of like. Yeah. I mean, now granted, I was, basically I was like older, basically older teenager, early adulthood, early to mid 90s. So this was around the time, of course, The Undertaker had debuted in the WWF. You had a couple years away from the Crow movies.
Yeah.
The first one with Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
So that whole kind of like darker persona was what I was going for with just by wearing all black and just
the more goth look.
Yeah.
That's good. It works.
So
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, no, that sounds like sounds angsty, but it's a lot of fun, especially at Halloween time. But gentlemen, one of the few things over the whole Halloween season is November 1st. 50% off of candy.
So true.
Yes. Yes. So basically
I'm trying to lose weight now. Don't remind me.
The thing is that the key word there, I think, Goat, is trying.
This is the okay time of year to buy bags of candy. And
Exactly. Plus on top of that, if you really want to get cheap, you buy the candy now, stick it in the freezer, wait until next Halloween and go, here you go, kids. Just take it.
And I hope we're back. We're back up to 6 people now. Well, I hope people are liking and sharing the stream. Oh, down back.
Well, I think the 3 of us
so
are
right. The clearance on candy.
Exactly. Because they want to get the crap. They want to get the crap out. Exactly, because they want to get the crap out so they can put more Christmas crap in.
Yes.
It's like, just take it. Like, as an example,
Christmas sucks. Christmas can go away.
Oh, it can.
So much better.
I am so I'm so disappointed when I go through my favorite dollar store and I see the Christmas stuff slowly sneaking into the side. I'm going, what the hell is this? So we're talking like beginning of
with everything the way it is this year, unfortunately, that the big sales they'd have on candies around this time, that those sales are going down.
Oh yeah,
and then you get peppermint and whatever junk.
Well, the biggest thing I'm looking at there is a chain of drugstores called Shoppers Drug Mart up here in Canada. I'm not quite sure what they have in the US, but long story short, they have this giant skull that I want to get. But the thing is that they want $14 for it, and that's in Canadian funds, of course. I'm waiting for 50% off, so I can grab it for $7. That's what I'm waiting for this year, so I can put it in my room. or in my
Like a
den.
mask or like
Well, no, it's basically it's a giant skull ball head. It is absolutely awesome and it's heavy. So I want to buy this stupid thing for $7.
it's like a decoration. It's just this
Yeah, exactly,
big thing.
exactly. The
Oh,
thing is that I can't
that
have it around
rocks.
the house because it'll look kind of silly, but I can definitely put it in my artistic slash office, if you will. Have that
That's
office
awesome.
beside. Yeah.
I
So
love it. I
I'm
love it.
waiting for
That's
that to come down to
great.
$7.
You
I'm gonna
know,
buy them, maybe 2 of them.
on a bit of a side note, I actually
Yep.
meant to mention this too. When we were talking earlier, Mr. Hop.
Mm-hmm.
When I was preparing my next couple weeks of watch schedule for me, online watching, I realized something. You guys
What's that?
realize 2 weeks from today is Friday the 13th?
It is November 13th.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the few things that this is what I've done. Usually my zombie.
I gotta
watch
say real
kinda-
quick, hi Woody.
Yeah, I did see that out of the corner of my eye. Hey guys, hey Woody.
Hello. I don't know who Woody is, but I appreciate the polite.
He's our guy.
hello.
Woody's
that's
our
cool.
guy.
That's cool.
He would be like I like showing up here and talking with Mike, and then Woody would be like the number 2, and then Toys has actually done his share of
That's cool.
sitting here with us too.
I've always seen Toys promote this broadcast as much as he possibly can.
Toys is a good egg. He really is.
Yes,
Yeah.
I completely concur.
So is Anon. So is Woody. Everyone here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, oh goodness, where was I with things? I have forgotten. Awesome.
Yeah, well, let me kind of finish up what I was.
Yeah.
What I was thinking too, since Friday the 13th.
Yes, that's it. I remember now. I remember.
I was wanting to know, Mr. Hop, and you can also ask Crest this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys consider coming back in 2 weeks, and we can talk some more like superstition stuff?
I think
Friday
that
13th?
would be. I think that'd be completely awesome. Again, send off a message off to Cress, see what she thinks of it. If she can't do it, I'd be more than happy to come back to your show. Definitely not a problem. As I was saying before with the zombie walk stuff, usually I run my event on the second weekend of October. This year, due to my own particular problems, I pushed that back to the 31st. So basically tomorrow I just plan to do some stuff. But however, the backup plan from that, the whole point here is basically Friday the 13th for the last ditch effort. But the thing is that as we're talking about snow on the 31st, I can only imagine how much snow there'll be on the 13th.
Right. As I was saying, I just thought, Friday the 13th and all the superstitions surrounding it and all that, figured it'd be a good time to have you and Crest back on to talk superstition stuff, maybe talk
the best for that.
Supernatural neat,
Yeah.
So
yeah, basically basically we could ask Cress. Hopefully there's no broadcasting done from her end of things on that night. So whatever works. I'm good with whatever.
All right.
Maybe we could get you on the if Cress wants to do a special Canuckleheads broadcast, maybe we could maybe do both. Maybe come on the show.
Well, you guys usually do it.
Bring up the geeky Americans who want to talk comics and invade your show with
up for any form of comic talk,
100%
anytime,
geek stuff.
anywhere.
Or maybe.
I know you are. That'd be awesome.
Oh, here's an idea.
What's your idea?
An idea that just crossed my mind.
Tell us what crossed your mind.
Maybe we can each, because I know on a lot of those type of days, you guys usually like to have your streams in the earlier part of the day, in the afternoon. Maybe what we could set up on that day is that maybe we do 2 shows. We do your we get together on your show. I come on your show during the day, and you guys come back on my show that night.
Sure.
We kind of
that
might be an interesting. Kind of an interesting co-promotional thing going where maybe we'll do it during, maybe I'll come on your show in the afternoon there, and then everybody comes back. We talk more about it that night.
Well, the biggest thing, size up with Crumb, get it all hooked up, and we'll see what we can't do. I just know that November 7th show, not to do any cheap plugging here, it's going to be absolutely off the hook. We're getting the wonderful, fantastic one and only Stan, who does conventions, and also this person
Dolan?
named Stan Dolan, and there's this other person that Stan's bringing him, Vic Mananyanya. I think I pronounced his name right.
On your stream next
You guys have heard of Vic.
You guys have heard of him?
You guys have heard of Vic.
I think I have.
Because
Yeah.
this Vic person's like a voice actor. You know, I
heard,
don't know how much clout voice acting has in today's, dynamic entertainment times. But I think that Stan's doing some charity by bringing this poor artistic individual onto Cress's show. So I don't know.
Well, you guys already
we will be there. That's going to be
awesome.
Awesome.
Stan Dolan and Vic Mignogna will be on the Canuckleheads show next Saturday, November 7th, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
That's going to be a big show, dude.
I don't say this too often, but this is definitely a show that you want to use pen to write down in your day timer to remind you that's coming up, because again, having both Stan and Vic on the show will be great. Basically, we're going to be doing a lot of shop talk. We won't be talking a lot about the case that's going on and stuff like that, because heaven forbid, poor Vic is going through an awful lot. At least I like to think of. And the thing is, that'd be great. Overall,
at this point, there's not much
talking about something other than the.
Wait a second, gentlemen, one at a time.
Sorry, that was my bad.
It's okay.
I think it's great if you can get Vic in a place where he's not talking about the junk and the emotional crap he's been through.
Yeah. Like, the thing is that from all of that, 110% with that, because again, at Comic-Con, I didn't have a lot of time to talk to Vic because I'm running the fucking event. And I'm on the front lines, making sure that we're upselling properly and stuff like that.
Okay.
What is Anthony here?
Yeah, anonymity. I'll be listening in, going to smoke with a neighbor.
Cool.
That's code for he's entertaining a lady friend.
He's
cool.
He's quite the stud. There's a date every night. Well, every Friday night when we're all here, Anon's like, "Hey, I'm listening," and my girl here says hi.
That's awesome. And what does
Vic? That will be a good guest.
And don't forget, it's Stan and Vic. So I'm gonna play
rocks too.
I'm gonna play it up as much as I possibly can.
And Anonymity going on.
That's right. Like Donkey Kong. So basically, long story short, great show. Please pencil it. Stop on by. Again, everything being broadcast.
I always try to stop on by at least for a few minutes. On the weekends, that's usually when I'm watching like pro wrestling, the old pro wrestling shows.
Oh gosh, yeah. Just to get off topic, have you guys been watching AEW recently?
Actually, no, I haven't actually started watching that yet.
That is becoming a show that's getting better and better and better, because again, Vince Kennedy McMahon, my honest opinion, is losing his full damn mind when it comes
I'll be right back.
No problem. Is losing his mind when it comes on the booking and talent and stuff like that. It's absolutely deplorable.
Yeah, I haven't really been watching any modern wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah, it all sucks.
I might start watching again once I've actually gone back through the whole. Like, I'm still watching stuff from back in 1975.
Oh Jesus!
I'm still working on working my way back that way.
Gotcha. Well, if you have a little bit of time, again, not to do any plugging for AEW because they haven't paid me yet or at all. If you have a little bit of time on Wednesdays, I highly recommend it. Again, if you can't catch it on Wednesdays.
I just recently found out that Arn Anderson is one of the agents there, because I don't know if you'd seen this or not, but there are a number of and I guess it's from this guy named Conrad Thompson. He does these series of podcasts with some wrestling personalities. There's like the Arn Show. There's Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff.
Yeah,
I've started watching
83 Weeks. I think should be more impressive, but it's not, which is really weird for me to see, because he got
what happened with Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone's been coming back and talking more wrestling now.
Interesting.
He'd been gone from the wrestling scene for a while. So
Gotcha. No, again, I'm really finding AEW to be a really fantastic broadcast to watch. And the thing is, I'm doing what I can to get away from the whole WWE stuff. And again, with AEW, which I'm finding is that I think the content is absolutely fantastic, but I think there's something missing. I don't know if that something missing is because it's a different type of broadcast or whatever the case may be. But the thing is that, again, they're taking a lot of talent. They're basically trying to elevate them, trying to make sure everyone is being pushed up. And I really can see that going place.
ADC has something to say here.
Yep.
So WWE is trying to take ownership off their subcontractors' third-party income.
Okay.
Now, I don't know exactly what that all means, but you know.
I just think, again, a lot of stuff from WWE does involve Paul Heyman. I find it to be extremely boring, difficult to watch. With
What was that?
I'm basically saying anything that's involved Paul Heyman in the WWE broadcasting, I find it extremely difficult to watch. Again, I don't know. There's a sense of genuineness that's involved with AEW. And I just find it to be a better product. And overall, I really like Kenny Omega.
I know there are a number of former WWE guys.
Yeah.
I know I do. Granted, even though I haven't watched it, I am aware of what's kind of going on there. I know that it was basically brought together by Cody Rhodes, Cody Reynolds, they're a pair of the Jackson brothers. And I know of the Jackson brothers because they've been around for, I think, some last 10 or 15 years on the independent scene.
Yeah.
Albeit, I think they go by a different name, Matt and Nick Jackson. And then and then there was Kenny Omega. Those four individuals.
Kenny Omega popped on my radar when Dave Meltzer gave him 6 out of 5. On several matches, and I start watching those matches. I'm going, this is going on for almost an hour, and I'm still entertained with the whole ADD thing kicking in full gear. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. Highly recommended. But before we get too much in wrestling talk, we're here to basically celebrate the wonderfulness.
Hey, I was going to say this is where Woody should. We need to bring Woody in on cam. Woody.
Well, yeah, I don't know if Woody watches a lot of modern day wrestling either.
I thought he does.
More about the classic stuff.
He's into the old school wrestling. Okay.
Yeah. Again, I'm talking more modern day stuff. So, what's Toy saying here?
I know nothing about it.
Taking the money from wrestlers. Twitch, Patreon.
Oh yeah, that is a kick in the fucking balls. I don't care who you are. Well, I'll basically paraphrase what's going on here. Vince McMahon has basically taken all of the finances that come in from third-party broadcasting, like allowed to be Twitch or YouTube or whatever the case may be, from the wrestlers themselves. So
come on.
No, I'm this is the most penny pitching shit I've ever heard of my life, because basically what's going on here is McMahon is saying, well, they're using our WWE content to promote insert platform here. And because of that, we're entitled to all of that. Now, the biggest thing I have a problem with this is that usually working for a production company, there's usually a production crew with that, writers, so forth, blah, 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 blah. But when you're actually hosting your own channel or your own thingy, wherever it may be, you're putting your own time and energy into that. And WWE says, well, there are characters, they're basically, they're under contract with us and we could take their money.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if they don't like it, they could be fined, suspended.
I did hear about that. Flash did something on this last week.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking horrible.
And that guy to say, I own you, I made you, and you can't.
Well, this is the funny thing is Vince is 70 fucking years old. He has no idea the difference between an Atari 2600 or an actual Commodore 64 compared to a Pentium 2. He doesn't fucking know any of this shit. So someone is whispering sweet nothings in his ear saying, hey, Vince, someone's taking money from us. And Vince goes, fucking what? No. It's stupid. It's pure
I
bullshit.
own them.
Plus,
They can't have that.
and the other thing that pisses me off is that again, since they're doing stuff at the what the fuck's it called? The Battle Dome, whatever stupid dome thing they're using for Mad Max there. Super long story short, they're not making any the wrestlers, the talent are not making any money. Yeah, they're not making any money on merchandise sales because there's no one there buying the shit. So it's like you have to give me a fucking break. And of course, some of these poor wrestling talents are simply living off the residuals off their own YouTube stuff, and it's just asinine. It's kind
Hey,
of
Woody has something to say here, guys.
yeah. What's got?
I don't really watch the modern stuff much, as I kind of mentioned. I met Meltzer once at a gathering before Wrestle War 90 in Greensboro. Now, mind you, understand this. Dave Meltzer created the wrestling. I just saw this, as I was looking through stuff the other day.
Yeah.
He created the Wrestling News Observer back in 1980.
Gotcha.
I was searching up my niche history topics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Kind of funny because the last few days too here I've been on my this day in each history I've been focusing quite a bit. I've found some stuff on some Halloween Havocs. One of them the other day from 1990 on the 27th that I pointed out was when Stan Hansen had beat Lex Luger at Wrestle War 90 for the United States Heavyweight Championship.
Dude, no one's got a better niche history game than you. You are the best in business. I'm just saying. That's why we're here.
Highlight that stuff,
I know we do too.
Here's something else Woody added here. WWF without WCW NWA just doesn't work hard enough. Yeah, that's true. I mean that's the whole point of why you need capitalism and you need competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to keep pushing yourself to do better. If there's no competition, you can just put out the same old crap, I'll put it this way. Growing up there in the late 80s and in the 90s there and watching wrestling from that time, I loved watching the syndicated shows because watching the superstars go up against the against some of the enhancement talent, you actually got a good chance to see the mechanics of a wrestling match.
Yeah.
It wasn't like nowadays when you have a lot of the stuff with the Monday night, when you have all these shows throughout the week, you have the Monday night shows and Thursday shows and all that. It's high spot palooza.
Yeah.
It's okay. A wrestling program when I was growing up, right? And I'm sure Batgoat and Woody can testify to this too.
Mm-hmm.
When we were growing up watching wrestling, you had, okay, so if you had a 60-minute wrestling show, right?
Yeah.
In reality, with commercials, it was more like 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah,
okay.
Like that. Yeah.
So in, let's say, the 45 minutes of the actual show, getting rid of all the commercials and all that, you'd probably have something like 30, 35 minutes of wrestling and then the other 5-10 of talking.
Yeah.
It's almost like when nowadays with these shows throughout the week, it's the other way around. It's 35. Well, now so now they've expanded to 3 hours of Raw. It's like 2 hours of talking, 1 hour of wrestling.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's not entertaining. It's boring as watching porridge turn colors. It's
some people might
really
argue
bad.
Some of the okay. Going back to watching a lot of those syndicated shows, like Superstars, like Championship Wrestling, all that. Okay, I'll put it this way: even though Arn Anderson was a heel, I loved watching his matches because because if you really get into the matches and you get into the match work and all that, you can kind of see the methodology. You can see how they're playing it out. And
telling a story in the ring,
right? The whole idea of even with like the whole concept of like how the Anderson, and granted Arn did this, but even his predecessors, Ole, Gene,
Yeah,
Lard, um, you know, the whole idea, okay, pick a body part and pick it apart until you basically get your opponent to,
yeah.
you know, that was interesting. Now maybe that's partly because of my autism or whatever, but
hmm
kind of that thought process and that methodology.
For sure, for sure. And again, getting back to point with yours truly, AEW has a lot of that. I mean, like a lot of that in-ring storytelling that's going on, and at the same time, they're trying to really put it together with more entertainment values. Because the biggest what I mean by values is that the biggest problem that the whole sports entertainment slash wrestling scene has is that if you've been watching it for a long period of time, it gets a little tedious after a while. So you got to bring stuff in, and the problem with the WWE product as a whole is that I don't think they realize who they're trying to contact or basically reach out to. And the thing is that the spectrum is so broad, they have to reach out and entertain everyone. And if you don't, you start losing bits and pieces.
Well, okay, yeah. As I understand it, the big demographic that the WWE is really trying to hit is the
Yeah.
18 to 49-year-old demographic.
Jesus, that's huge. That's
That's
huge.
I would like that's the
Yeah.
number one money market
Well,
for anything,
the thing
honestly.
is that as I keep saying, is
And I
that
hate to
the
say it, but
demo's
like
broken into 4
18 to
quadrants.
45-year-old white male is where you make the most of your money anywhere.
Well,
Right.
basically, what the quadrant breaks down to is the following. Number one quadrant is males, regardless of whateverness, 25 and younger.
True. True, true.
The second key
Okay.
demographic is 25 and older. The third demographic is female 25 and younger, and the last and fourth quadrant is female 25 and older. Reason being, most expendable income, most expendable time. As example, males 25 and younger have the most expendable time, most expendable income, versus the fourth quadrant, which is basically females 25 and older. Reason being is that demographic is having babies. They're looking after their children. Exactly. And the
Mommyhood.
thing is that,
Correct.
again, these are the
Yeah.
species of humans that are actually conceiving the children.
Mm.
Thus, their time is divided up differently. And on top of all
Correct.
that, this quadrant has been around for the last 100 years. It has been proven time and time and time again. So when I hear WWE's
Oh,
reaching,
you froze out there. You froze out there, Mr.
Oh, what?
Hop. You froze out
Oh.
there for a moment.
No, I'm okay. Can you hear me
You
all
really
right?
didn't?
You fro-
I
now
didn't
you're
say
back.
he's
Now
good.
you're back.
Okay, great. So based on I hear the WWE is not reaching the first quadrant, but the second one as well, which is basically males 25 and younger, 25 and older. That's a huge demo to reach to. And at the same time, I'm in the second quadrant, most definitely. And I find the whole WWE broadcast in general to be very boring, I wouldn't say the word contrived, but a lot of it is just dumb. Like, great example. Crest and I sometimes watch the same broadcast, and it's absolutely hilarious to me and to her when we start looking at the New Day and the Street Profits and how they're so interchangeable. They just swap belts and that's it. It's like that into itself is kind of scary.
Is
When you
that
think
right?
about it.
Okay.
Yep. That into itself, that very small premise is kind of scary when you think about it, because they're no longer interested in promoting talent. They're more interested in promoting I want to say a concept or no, basically a product. And the product is that all of our superstars are interchangeable and swappable. We could make a new Norman Reigns. We could make a new Seth Rollins. It doesn't matter anymore. And I'm using those names incorrectly because the whole swapping aspect. And the thing is that with AEW, again, I really see individuality. And I think that's very, very important. I think WWE has missed a lot of that because, again, with WWE, not to go after the talent, is that basically after the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin era, they got into a bit of trouble. And the trouble was this: their talent surpassed their brand. and the brand first and foremost is WWE. And proof positive of this, look at the championship belts. Is it the Eagle belt they're using? Is it the Stone Cold Skull belt they're using? No, it's WWE because that is their brand. And
Well,
that
yeah,
is
and
the
the
brand
problem
they're
is when they absorbed
Yeah.
WCW and started using their titles, and I mean it
Well,
kind
the
of
thing is,
over.
you had that, and it was overkill. But super long story short, somewhere in the writing decision table aspect of things is that they're no longer promoting superstars in a sports entertainment of valley. What they're doing is they're pushing the WWE brand first and foremost, and that's the star of the show, which is absolutely, my opinion, atrocious. Because the thing is that, again, getting back to comic book stuff and storytelling stuff, the heroes is what makes the actual the legends, and that's what also what makes the storytelling, because without the hero and the villain aspect, you've got crap in a box, and that's exactly
You're
what they're selling.
ruining what the kids, and I don't hate to be misogynistic. I'm just being real. What these little boys and the dudes that grow up to be like us, what they want. They're taking it away.
We covered this past week. There were a number of stories we were talking about, in terms of the get woke, go broke. I mean, there were three stories. There were three stories the other day that I covered, all surrounding the Batwoman TV series and Batgirl, like.
Yeah, that whole thing is a dumpster fire
Antifa.
and a
Barbara
car
Gordon
wreck
joining Antifa.
surrounded in a fucking train accident. Like, that has to be the worst production I've ever seen. And the thing is that, again, I used to be a comic book publisher back in the 90s, and the thing is that I grew up with great heroes such as Sarah Connor from Terminator, Ripley from Aliens, and the list goes on and on and on. And the thing is that these were decent heroes that basically quickly fought on their feet. They took care of the bad, scary monster at the end of things. And the thing is, they moved forward and they kicked ass.
ATC has something to say here.
From Batman TAS early 90s, like when they were still going, hey, here's a fun character for you that isn't the norm, and she became hugely popular, and then
they added her to the DCU.
Yes, destroyed.
Yep.
Okay. Action Toy Channels here says Skull Belt, best belt. Anonymity here. Better watch what you say. Kibble Smith might pay a visit. Ha ha ha. Don't even know who that is.
Can you imagine him making
in Southern Ontario? I invite them in for tea anytime.
Making a comic about the three of us being superheroes? That would be
yes.
That would be interesting.
Actually, I have a kind of a, for me, I do have kind of a super well, I don't know if you'd call it a superhero alter ego that I Raven Crow.
Okay. Cool.
Kind of taking aspects of the Crow.
Yeah.
But like for me, like one of my main weapons is a gimmicked bat. I'd have like a baseball bat, and I'd have buttons on it to where I could like shoot laser, I'll shoot a laser beam or a grappling hook, or so I have elements of like the Crow and Batman.
Backroad would get this Caveman from back in the cartoon days. Captain Caveman,
yeah. with his club that
with his club, opens up,
come out of there. Yeah, that was bad.
So according to Action Toy Channels here, the Batwoman TV show is what happens to Barbara Gordon when the Joker paid her a visit.
What, the producer just puts a bullet in the head? My gosh. No, the thing is that, again, when it comes down to it, my honest opinion is
an atrocity.
I personally think that the sales staff, I don't think they know what the demographic is anymore. I really, really don't. And because of that, they're going after different demographics
Yeah.
because of stuff like that's been on
Right.
Tumblr and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I
And
think
along the way, they're losing themselves. And to make things even more fantastic, proof positive, back in the 90s, let's just say a little pandemic rolls into town. And the thing is that all those major studios would be fine. Why? Because money is rolling in and the water is good and it's not a problem. But the thing is, since they're losing money hand over fist, they're in so much trouble. It's ridiculous.
well,
I
yeah,
think
I mean that's
we can all agree. We can all agree that as soon as they pandered to the Twitter mob. They pandered to social media. Like over the last 10 years,
I think
saw
and it
we
comes
saw
down
it
to
slowly coming, but like when you start pandering to this low percentage of loudmouth evil people, you're gonna lose money.
Let me jump in here just for a microsecond, borrowing stuff from Transformers here. I
Okay.
personally think it's the following, because the thing is, again, I'm surrounded by fantastic artistic YouTubers who go online, build a social media platform, and they start moving forward. But however, what they do is they build up an audience, allowed to be big, small, medium, the case may be. Me, I come from traditional media, advertising, print, radio, television, film, right from the get-go. Have I done anything important? Of course not. But I do know enough. I could say what I could say with conviction. And what it comes down to is this, unfortunately. The people who sit around the board table, they do not know what 25-year-old kids like. Why? Because they're pushing 70s and 80s. Part of my forward language, but what the fuck does older people know about younger people? And it's the ongoing saga story. They don't know because they're just so old. The problem is that they held on by their fingertips for so long because they want to make that money or whatever they want to prove, and they've lost their way along the way. Kids today haven't forgotten what kids are, which they want to go out, have fun, watch cool shit. And the thing is that transition into the next product or production that's coming down the pipes. And because of that, production companies have gotten scared. They have to invest into productions that already have a built-in audience. Proof positive, look at the fucking Harry Potter franchise. That shit didn't materialize because people at what the fuck Fox Studio thought it'd be really cool to put some pagan witches together and basically add a lot of sorcery because it looked cool on paper. No, they got involved because somebody had a built-in audience when they sold their books, and the books are like fucking hotcakes. That's the bottom line of bottom lines. And the thing is, the other problem, and I do mean this in the best sincere way possible, people like us should have been gotten out of the pulp culture scene a long time ago. But we held on to it because we thought it was fucking cool. It brought happiness in our lives, and we thought it was awesome. And the problem is that those producers got fat and lazy because they keep catering to our demographic. But at the same time here, they've lost complete touch of what younger kids want. Example, look at Transformers. Good example. Not probably the perfect example, but a good example. They don't know what they're selling anymore. Mm-hmm. They don't. They keep putting all the same products and same characters. Been around for 35 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to make. Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on. I want to make one last point, and then I want to get back on track.
For sure.
Now on track here. Now, I think I need to, like, even Backgoat was telling me last week I was kind of letting.
Yeah. Sorry. So that's my fault.
Yeah,
I know, but I figured,
Mike, I'm sorry, but that was a good little sidetrack rant right there.
Shop
I believe
talk,
everything
I'm
he
always
said.
open.
That was awesome.
I'm down here at Mr. Hop on Twitter.
Rock on, Mr. Hop. That was badass.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, and that's fine. It's just, we kind of got off track there, and like, even I sometimes know there are times I need to step in a little bit more and be a little.
It's cool. It's cool, bud. Sorry, I got off topic. Shop talk.
No, that's okay. I mean, we were gonna probably eventually get to that anyways, but we just got to it a little earlier than I was expecting. But anyways, yeah, I know what you're talking about because I grew up on the G1 Transformers series.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But with that being said, let's get back on topic here. So I want to move on. Then, of course, we talked a lot more about childhood memories of Halloween.
Yep.
Now, I want to hear more about what I want to hear now is maybe some of your adult memories of passing out candy, like when you guys, I don't know if you guys sit at your, like, what I like to do is I like to sit at my front door and have they come up to up into the porch area and I'll hand out the candy. Usually we'll talk about how talk about the costumes and stuff like that. I want you guys to share some of your experiences as candy passer outers, I guess we'll call it.
Oh gosh, there's not much going on here, Mike. Honestly, like over the last 10 years, I've bought, and in fact, my roommate is right next to me. How much candy has been passed out from here in the last 10 years? Like, I always buy it, and like maybe 3-7 times. I don't know. It just we're in a nice little townhome area here, and it just there's just no interest. They just don't come around.
We usually have to wait, or at least I do.
I've had it on once or twice, and they still don't come.
So back though. Let me ask you this then. At least in your experience, have you seemed to notice that the whole idea of trick or treating is kind of like seeming like it's starting to, the whole tradition and idea of trick or treating seems to be dying off?
Yes, in a way. And like I said, around here, it's not a big deal, which makes me sad. But like my roommate's like, well, I don't care. I turn the lights off. I don't care. And like,
honestly, I've seen that too. Where I live here in Southern Cal, or my neighborhood here, I've seen that too.
But I still do see the kids like across the street. There's neighbors with a 5-year-old girl, and I'm sure, like, I know I have candy, so if she's dressed up and I can see her come across, like, oh, individually give her some candy and stuff like that. So maybe on a
but I'm also guessing that this
level.
year you're probably not being allowed to do that this year anyways with everything going on too, right?
Yeah, and I would think that like us knowing each other as neighbors, like they might trust that. I mean, I don't even know. You're right. It's completely different.
It seems like it's dying, but how about you, Mr. Hobb? What have you noticed? First off, have you passed out candy before? And if you have you noticed kind of a downward trend in that realm? Or
well, Michael, thank you very much for giving me the floor, and let me tell you what I've done to celebrate the wonderfulness of Halloween time. Basically, what it comes down to, I'm the exact same thing as Mr. Goat here. Kids haven't come in. They're afraid, whatever the case may be. So the thing is, I took the extraordinary step and basically brought the Halloweenies to the kids. What I mean by that is that through my zombie walk, and I don't keep referencing back that a little bit more, is that it's basically a trick-or-treating time for the actual grown-ups and for their kids. Reason being is that one of the few initiatives within my zombie walk thing is that, first off, odd sense of humor, fully engaged, so please bear with me. Basically what it is that, first off, it's a food drive. So to be involved with my zombie walk, people have to donate a non-perishable food item. So if you think that for a second, basically zombies are donating food to the local food banks. That's funny to itself. Another aspect is that what I like to do is reequate my township to the independent retailers in the downtown core. And how that works is that when the zombies show up, or a zombie horde shows up to a unexpected shopkeeper, the shopkeeper throws candy at the zombies, and the zombies take the candy and they go away. So that
I
into
love it.
itself was another joke that I have as well.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when you talk
Great.
about getting involved with trick-or-treating and stuff like that, that's where I engage with that. But however, the both of you are absolutely correct. The whole art, and also I think it's a little bit of fear that's creeping in as well. As a kid, knocking on the door and going trick-or-treating is currently being lost more and more and more.
Yeah.
And reason being,
Yeah,
it
I
used
mean,
to be, and the thing is, that we all could
Right.
agree with, is that when you're younger, you're there with an older adult, you're watching stuff, things like that. But eventually, you were allowed to go out into the wilderness and basically start collecting your own candy. Thus, the pillow sacks full of candy we talked about from earlier in our broadcast. And the thing is that
Mhm.
I think that aspect is being cut off at the knees a little bit, because I think parents are really afraid what the kids are getting involved with, unless if it's a controlled situation. And one
Right.
of the few
Well,
things.
well,
And one of the few things, just to add a little bit more here, not to get all tinfoil conspiracy theory, but I noticed that a lot of trick-or-treating dropped off after September 11th back in 2001. Because basically parents are cocooning their children in their own house and stuff like that, and thus losing contact with their neighbors, going out and playing and using
Right.
their bikes to jump over giant balls of fire with ramps and stuff like that with the back in the 80s and the 70s.
In general, actually, that's another thing I've noticed too over the last few years. You don't see, now, granted, I know that's probably been going on more like for the last 15, 20 years, but you don't really see kids going out and playing. You don't see kids as much out in their yards anymore. You don't see kids
No.
playing in the
Yeah.
streets anymore. Now, granted, I think part of that's because of social media, with more social media, gaming, and all that online and stuff like that. But like one of the things I've noticed, and it's something that's kind of like saddened me a little bit, is that the whole idea of trick or treating and going out like that has seemed to be dying off. And there's been a number of factors. I think you point out one with the whole thing behind. I think there is more fear in society today because people.
Yeah, and
like
this is real fear.
Kids seem like kids are being forced to grow up faster and faster. You cannot be naive anymore. It's like one of the things I've noticed, one of the things that has seemingly replaced trick or treating, like stuff like what you're doing with your zombie walk. That's one of the activities that seems to be replacing trick or treating. I know a lot of churches have what they call the harvest festivals, where and some people
the harvest festival, Christians come pilgrims.
Well, we take that
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Halloween.
That's good though. That's good.
But
thanks.
And also, there's a lot of like churches and community centers are doing a lot of what they call trunk or treats, where maybe they'll get into their parking lots. They'll have a whole bunch of cars. Instead of going out in the neighborhood trick or treating, you just go into your church's parking lot and just go around the church.
That's mighty Christian and taking the fun out of things.
You know what's funny, you guys?
What's that?
I quit. I quit my job as a paramedic 5 years ago. So I remember like probably the last or the one before. So let's say 2013 or 2014, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
They put there's always times of the year where you just show up to work and management has done something that, they're so good and they've put stickers and they've done something. It's like, yes, me personally, in between answering 911 calls and saving lives and being knee deep in vomit, I will go out and do this stuff for you to make you look good, right? But they made an effort. So it was probably 6 years ago where big bags of candy in our trucks were there. For each shift coming on, like they had to actually like put it in our bins, like our cardiac monitor and our narcotics and our drugs, and there's a thing of candy. Like, okay, what's this all about? And those of us that with kids and stuff, we realize like, hey, this is a good opportunity, and especially because like people are scared now and whatever. And I remember that I made it up into Bloomington, Minnesota, with my partner, and we made it up to the Mall of America, which is in our our service area, and that's the biggest mall in the world. I know you've got the one in Canada that like has a 6-foot garage off the side or something.
2 submarines.
Bigger.
Don't forget about that.
The Mall of America is bigger. It's just the biggest.
No, the mall in Edmonton Mall is bigger.
We're not going to get into this.
Okay.
I've seen the plan.
Anyway,
but like we showed up. We showed up, and in uniform because we had these big bags of candy. There were so many families and moms with their kids just going around to the stores, and the stores would come out with it was just little teeny crappy things, but like we had big monster bags, and they saw they were paramedics, so like the 15 minutes or the 30 minutes that we had inside the Mall of America, like on our downtime, we were just handing out all this candy, and it was freaking fantastic. I really loved it, and at the same time, I was like, "This is so sad. It's a really sad state of affairs." And like I said, this is a long time ago.
Yeah,
many years ago.
I could dig it.
Yeah. Well, let me just chat in here. So Action Toy Channel, ATC as I like to call them, mentioned this. Laugh out loud. I used to deck out my house with animal skulls and dressed up, sat on the chair with the candy bowl on my lap, and when the kids take some, I jump up and scare the babies out of how the kids laugh out loud.
Of course, Toys does that. He's one of those people.
Laugh out loud.
Yeah, more lulz. See, another thing, just to conclude this conversation as well. Again, getting back to kids, what I noticed with more kids today as time continues on, is having things like this, thing here. Okay, cost at least between $700 to $1,000. My parents growing up never gave me any devices like that. Why? Because I'll eat it by mistake, use it as a frisbee, turn to a football. You know, those creative, fun like kid things. But with kids today, they all have the cell phones. And where I'm leading up towards this is that, again, the aspect of, in my opinion, developing a community and getting together in real time is becoming less and less of an actual let's get together, but more of an actual art now, because the thing is it takes more effort to get together versus contacting your buddies on whatever social media platform and say, hey, are we having fun? Yes, we are. And the thing is that I'm finding
it's kind of like
that kids these days are basically and basically the thing is that because of that Exactly. So basically, long story short, there are more kids running around with cell phones these days than anything else, and I really think that takes a lot away from a lot of the fun that when I was their age. Because the thing is, again, we grew up without cell phones, we grew up without constant communication, we grew up without social media platforms, and the thing is that I think we're better off without it. I really, really do. Well, the thing is that this science won't be recognized at least for 10, 15 years from now. So
that's kind of like what we were talking about before we went live, with the idea that progress is not always a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids, the thing is that and this is one of the things I really hate about like the lockdowns, right?
Yeah.
It's forcing everybody like to avoid contact with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Because human beings need to be, we still do a pretty good job, interacting on screen here. But there comes a point in time you really do need to be in the physical presence of another human being,
for sure,
or socially. Sure. I mean, look at all the problems we have with stuff like Twitter, Facebook, social media. Look at just how we talk to each other, even on that.
Well, the thing is that everything you're saying is 100% valid point. I personally think that this problem, as I said before, extends even earlier. I think the situation started to rise itself after September 11th, where parents were very afraid of their kids. See, the
Afraid
thing
of their kids or for their kids?
sorry, of and for, depending on your situation.
Right.
But for the kids, I would generally run with. But however, long story short, we are unfortunately in unprecedented. No one's got the camera on. Sweet. There we go.
I just turned
No,
it
it's
off
cool.
for a
I was
moment.
being silly. Don't mind me. So, long
Yeah.
story short, I personally think that we are in unprecedented times. I think the pandemic has caught a lot of world leaders and health organizations simply with their pants down. We are in a new Cobalt 19 virus where there is no particular cure as of yet, unless, of course, you're Donald Trump and being pumped full of drugs with some of the best medical systems on the whole planet. But the thing is, when it really comes down to it, we have to take as many precautions as we can until something can come to the surface. And I think that's the thing that's really disrupting things. And at the same time, as a general society on both north and south of the border, we should be having rainy day money put aside from that. But the thing is that, again, if we're the general peoples in today's time, which is very unfortunate, we're all living from paycheck to paycheck. And the thing is, a lot, as we talked about before today's broadcast, is that a lot of small businesses are also living from paycheck to paycheck as well. So the thing is that for a while you could coast on that, no problems. But throw a left curve or a right curve into things, depending on what side of the curve you want to live on. That basically throws everything into a ruckus. Like, one of the few things I remember back in the 90s is that my friends and I are really big in science fiction and other stuff like that. And we always talked about how eggshell fragmented society really was back in the 90s. And it wouldn't take much. Allowed to be a world war, a pandemic, a bad economic downturn. And the thing is that, here's the funny part. We survived all of that up to this point without any disruptions. No problem. But for the very first time, surprise, surprise, science fiction been warning us since the 60s, have told us this day would come. But we didn't listen. We had preparedness involved with that. One of the few things that both of our two countries are guilty of, to a lesser degree and a greater degree, is that we had safe blocks in place. But along the way, we went, well, you know what? We're going to take this money out from this pot and put it in this pot over here to balance the books properly. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing's bad going to happen. And something from China.
I throw a monkey wrench into what you're saying, and I say,
okay, guys,
100% that when people first started the video, the social media crap came out, where you saw some dude, or dudette, or some Chinese person collapse on the street. People, the whole world freaked the fuck out right there. So
for sure,
I posit that social media had a lot to do with this panic.
You know what? Hold on for a second. There. I would really like to talk about this in full length because I crave conversations like this, like you wouldn't believe. But however, this is Mike's show.
That is true.
And we're getting off the base topic. And the thing is that, don't get me wrong,
You bring me on Canuckleheads one time, and I would love to.
The funny thing is that all depends if Crumb wants to run with it. But the thing is that, Mike, this is your platform.
Sorry, Mike.
Okay, first up, I wanted to get
to... I hear everything you're saying, and there's a lot to talk about, my man.
There is.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, hold on, guys. Slow down a little bit here.
Yeah.
First off, let me get Action Toy Channel comments here.
Yeah.
And then I have something I want to kind of mention, and then we got a couple other comments. So let me get through some of these comments right here,
Absolutely.
and then I have something to say about some of this too.
Sure. I'm gonna keep my enthusiasm low.
Right. Okay. So anyways, the world needs an era of life like Mad Max universe. Laugh out loud.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, that means 90% of us are dead. So I'm not a big fan of that. But
Yeah. Well, the way things are going, we may end up in a like apocalyptic Armageddon anyway.
We'll be okay. We're gonna be okay. I know
things
that.
will be all right.
I'm a Republican right-wing toolbox, and I know everything's gonna be okay, no matter what happens.
Anonymity says China got it to transfer to humans.
Yeah.
To humans. Okay.
Come
So,
on.
anyways,
Yeah.
I want to just kind of make a quick little statement on
Of course.
the little. Okay. And I've said this before because if you remember, Mr. Hop, we talked a little bit about this when
yes.
guys the last on when we got in when I started talking about when we started talking a little bit about the predation at cons, okay,
Yeah.
and I got into the whole age of consent issue and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are times when people get caught up and get a little bit confused in what they're talking about between maybe the legality of a situation and the morality of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we're not clear on that, that can sometimes be when people are not clear and not always as honest as they want to be with what they're getting at.
Yeah,
I think that can also cause some of the confusion. But I just wanted to say that now, as you guys know, I do try to limit the political talk because it can get a little. We were kind of getting off topic there with that. But the thing is, and I agree with you. It would be a good conversation to have. Probably another day, maybe.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm
day.
always
other than Vietnam, the country has never been this much at each other's throat.
For sure.
Like literally since Vietnam, and it's a scary time. I don't like it. It bothers.
I completely agree.
I'm very sad.
Yeah. One of the things I actually did now I know you probably are not. You probably are aware of this, Mr. Hop, but here in the States, we're already going through, voting, and a lot of states.
Oh, goodness gracious! I've been keeping very close eye on things because American politics interests the fuck out of me.
The rest of the world is paying attention to us right now, Mike. Oh, everyone is looking at this.
Oh yeah.
Wherever you lie, this is a big deal.
There's already been some reports and some fears that come election day, there may be some violence, at least in the city.
We know. We're scared. We're scared.
And also on top of that, it's going to take some time to figure this wonderful, fantastic mess out. Fingers are going to be pointed back and forth. And the thing is that, again, this is a great, scary subject to talk about. As the kids say online, my DMs are open for any time you want me on your show to talk more about this.
But talk, not yell, not freak, not
a conversation. A simple conversation.
Yes.
And the thing is, again, as you're American, I'm Canadian. Right there, the line is already there. So however, gentlemen, we're here to talk about gentlemen, we're here to talk about Halloweeny stuff. So
right. I was trying to keep it more on a positive note by keeping Halloween, but now, granted, I can get off task too at times, but at some point you do need.
Yes.
There's I guess a couple.
By the way, Mike, I've never held you down on this, but I'm pretty sure that you are a Christian like myself. I would think that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, generally speaking, I am. I mean, granted, I don't go to churches, but I would.
I don't either. I'm not a good Christian. I'm just one of these Christians.
I would say that my moral fabric is more based on the Judeo-Christian faith. Okay, that's probably the best way to put it. That my moral fabric is based more on the Judeo-Christian faith. So, but anyways, yeah. So, but on back to the Halloween side of it, just getting back to
Mike,
Just
can I
get-
cut you off one more time? This is the most wonderfully controversial show you've ever had. Congratulations, you did well. You really did.
Controversial? What do you mean controversial? How is it controversial?
There's nothing controversial. Me and Mr. Hopper going back and having a little fun, like jamming at each other, and it's been huge fun. That's what I'm saying. It's been massive fun.
Well, for me, I think I've talked about this before with you, Backo, when you've been on with me. I always do strive to get a good conversation going. Not like what we've been having, where we're like, where we're like trying to talk over each other. I mean, I would like to calm that down a little bit and just give everybody a chance. I mean, but I do want good conversation.
Yeah.
I want I want us to be able to talk back and forth, but I don't want us like at times we've gotten so wild where we've all like I've had to sit there and like kind of really say, hey, hold it, slow down here, we're getting a little, but I like good conversation. I like good conversations, Batgo, because and that's part of the reason why I bring up all the knowledge stuff, because I want people to be more informed,
I know.
And
you're very cool to do that. You're very cool to do that, Mike. I appreciate it. And like we know this is your channel, and we love you. We love being here. We love comics.
We're in your house, yo.
Yeah, so we're
actually in a way you guys
we're
are.
trying not to be disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in a way, you guys are. I mean, I am broadcasting this from my own bedroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys, if I back up a bit, you can tell.
Yeah, I know. It's your house. It's your house, dude.
Exactly.
That's what I've always liked. Like from the second I first saw you, and you know that from Tug, me being a moderator with Tug, and you just talking and saying like, "Hey, come check out my channel." And after a while, I started putting up the links to your channel, and then I looked at your channel and said, "Oh, hey, look at all this cool stuff he's got, especially on voice actors and comics." So like I looked for myself, and then I realized, oh, like this is my guy. Like he knows cartoons better than anyone. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna sit here and geek out.
Like,
that's
okay,
awesome.
let me get Action Toys comment here real quick, and then I'll make a okay. So as a person who lives in Canada, I'd tirade Trudeau for Trump. I trade Trudeau for Trump. So
you never know what
it doesn't quite work like that, but
you never know what you don't have until you lose it.
Wish it was like that, but anyways, let me because you mentioned the voice acting stuff.
Yeah.
The reason and you guys know I have that one playlist called Voices Big and Small.
Yes.
Part of the reason why I even decided to do those DA profiles, and I originally started them out as premieres until, of course, I started doing the live streams, and then I did them as regular videos.
Yeah.
The reason there were basically a couple reasons, and you've heard me say this before, Mr. Hop, you may have heard me say this before. One of the underlying things that I try to do with my channel, particularly when we're talking about like the Vic stuff and stuff like that, because everybody else is doing the exact opposite of what I decided to do. Instead of demoting the bad, let's promote the good. Yep. There are a lot of voice actors. There's a number of voice actors in your neck of the woods there up in Canada, particularly there in Calgary. Yeah. Who don't get the attention that they deserve.
Yep. And it's fairly tough too, because again, if we look a little bit more west towards BC, there's a lot of great creativity stuff that comes from that province. As an example, Mainframe Entertainment is the first one that comes to mind that does Beast Wars and also Reboot and stuff like that. Plus, on top of that, all the voice talent that's attached to that. And the thing is that's just the first of many.
Reboot, as in like the 90s.
Yep. That all came from Mainframe Entertainment in Calgary.
Like,
Not
and
Calgary, sorry, BC.
I'm sorry, I stutter
okay.
when I
Mhm.
don't think good. I love Reboot
Oh,
on a
yeah.
level that you cannot understand.
I
I love
relate.
that show
Yep.
so much.
Yeah, and the thing is that you could completely concur what I'm saying, especially when it's basically created by Mainframe Entertainment. And Mainframe Entertainment was also responsible for Beast Wars, Shadow Wars as well, and a bunch of other entertainment stuff. And all that's just direct derivative from talent from BC.
Did that come on CBC? Because like it was on American TV, like in the early 90s.
Oh, definitely. Basically, Reboot was broadcast through something called YTV, which is an acronym for youth television, and that's where Reboot was discovered. Yeah, and the thing is, again, the CBC stuff more focuses on more family entertainment value, such as Mr. Dress Up, followed by Friendly Giant and stuff like that. More live action type like entertainment, plus also sometimes into OTV. No, I'm not saying that right, but however, long story short, more kids programming. That's where it comes from CBC. The thing is, again, from Reboot came from YTV, and that's where it was broadcast from.
Now, as I've mentioned before, and this is why, of course, I do them in basically sets of 6. That's why the 60th and final episode of Voices Big and Small will be this Sunday, because as I've mentioned, you guys probably heard me mention this before, in North America here, in like the States and Canada, there's like six major dub studios, even though, okay, so right now you can say the Dallas area is probably with Funimation is the biggest. LA is the second one with like Bang Zoo, Studiopolis. And then you have Ocean Studios up there in Vancouver. And you have the New York voice acting crew that basically their most famous work, of course, is Pokemon. For Kids is based out of New York, Central Park Media. Then you have the Houston-based voice actors who originally started out as ADV before ADV went bankrupt, and then they reformed as Sentai Filmworks. And then you have Blue Water Studios, based in Calgary, which is a subsidiary of Ocean.
Okay.
So some of the works that, like, for example, some of the works that the Calgary voiced actors were a part of include like the dubs of like Maihime Mayatome, Pretty Cure, Card Fight Vanguard, Future Card Buddy Fight, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Those are some of the ones that the Calgary crew was.
And the thing is that if you want to water off some more animation stuff, there's an animation studio called Nirvana, and the thing is that they really focus on more independent animated productions. It's not quite anime centric, but they do stuff, which is pretty cool.
Who did Pirate Family? I know it was off CBC.
I can't recall offhand.
So good. Only had 2 seasons. God, it was so good.
Yeah. No, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, and I'm not sure the studio that did this, but these are all CBC productions. When I talk about something that I've seen on Netflix, I'm like, why are the Canadians putting out better shit than we do?
The thing
is, it doesn't make me mad. I'm just like, how come no one knows this?
There's a period of time, again, not to get off the main topic, that Canada was producing some, I'm going to say, more Eastern level entertainment. They were looking at animation as a form of storytelling versus kid shit. Like, as an example, Rock and Roll came from that. Secret of Nim came from that. And those were the two major productions that really got me animation. Because again, me watching this stuff way back in the 80s, all this was Canadian content. But the biggest problem we got going on here is that my love for animation is really genuine. And on top of that, I look at animation as a form of storytelling. There's certain things you could do in an animated production that you can't do in live action. You just can't.
Of course.
And the thing is that in the States, you have everything being overshadowed by the House of Mouse. And that overshadows everything. Plus, on top, they got Warner Brothers that pops up once in a while to do it. But the thing is, at the same time, they're only really governed by what the pop culture zeitgeist will allow them to do.
You're right.
And the thing is that here in Japan, or not here in Japan, over in Japan, they look at animation and publishing as several different forms of media. That would be for kids, adults, families, that's in between. Here in Canada, if you're over the age of 30 and you're still watching cartoons, something's wrong with you. And that's very, very unfortunate, because the thing is that, again, I would take any of those critics.
Really?
Yeah. But the thing is, I would take any one of those critics. I don't think
that's ever happened in America. There's never been I have never been. Of course, I'm 6'1" and I'm like a big dude, and I was in the military, whatever. But especially when I'm not in your face, but I'm very upfront about I love SpongeBob. I can tell you every SpongeBob, from season through season 6 or Smurfs or whatever, and I talk about CBC stuff. People, most of my friends are where I go out and laugh, and they're just watching golf, and they're like,
oh yeah, and the football,
they laugh and they kind of go, yeah, that's cool, or something. They go, oh yeah, that's fun. No one's ever.
Guys, if you can hold your thoughts for just a moment here, I want to get this this
comment. You got it.
Comment from ATC, your Action Toy Channel. Laugh Out Loud Canada produces more talent for the entertainment industry.
True.
And I don't, Mr. Hop.
I'm not going to argue.
Mr. Hop, Batgoat and I, we had a nice discussion, what was it, a month or so ago, about the Smurfs, and we went through some of their voice actors. So he can tell you that we really had a good old time with that. But awesome. We're kind of in the more free form. I think I asked everything I was thinking of asking for Halloween stuff. So
that's cool.
So we're going to go on the more free form stuff.
Mike, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know everything I'm bringing up, and I know, I watch these Netflix shows and a lot of CBC stuff, and I don't think it's in your wheelhouse, and I'm sorry for that. And Mr. that I'm bringing these things up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, dude," and so we're just
that's fine. I mean, again, I'm not focusing as much on modern stuff right now. I just like more the classic stuff. But
well, I as we
nothing modern is good right now. I'm sorry.
The thing is that you're absolutely correct. As I was going to say about animation, especially people over the age of 25 watching it, and how some people view their actual viewing habits, what they like and stuff like that. As I was going to say, I would really take those critics, sit them down, make them watch Barefoot Gen and basically see how quickly they cry. Because if you watch that animated production and you don't shed a tear, there's something really severely mental with you. Because the thing is, it's called Barefoot Gen. The premise is basically two brothers who survive.
Gin,
as in the drink gin.
Is it Barefoot Gen or is it Barefoot Gen? Because I think
I think it's Gen. I might be screwing up the title, but here's the premise in a nutshell. Basically, it's about two brothers who survived the actual Holocaust in the Second World War when the two atom bombs drop. And the thing is, it's their journey going through this. And the thing is that this thing, fucking Hellraiser box, opens up with all the Hellraiser hooks and just grabs your heartstrings and just yanks you around like a redheaded stepchild. And it's absolutely fantastic. And I highly recommend.
And who did this?
I forget the production company, but again, this is part of the whole animation line of things.
Okay.
And again, the thing is, this is highly
modern. You're saying modern.
If you talk about modern, late 90s, early 2000s, I'd say sure. Okay. But however, it's something that rolled out at least 20 years ago. But the thing is that the storytelling, the animation still holds up. And this is something you can't duplicate within a live action production. Because the animation thing is a very soft lull. What I mean by that, it allows the viewer to be adopted into this whole other world of animation. The case may be easier than live action stuff. So again, absolutely.
Yeah. Live action is horrible. Mike, what do you think? Current? Is there anything good current, cartoon wise?
Well, this is the thing. And the thing is, let me jump in really quickly. That's a difficult question to ask because, again, a lot of productions have stopped. And it stopped because of the pandemic. So anything new that's coming out isn't exactly new, if you know what I mean.
True.
This is stuff from the pipeline that basically people in a boardroom sat around and said, oh, there's this thing called Tumblr. Isn't this awesome? Yeah, let's get some more tumbling ideas involved.
Yeah.
Okay,
But anyway,
well,
sorry for interrupting.
I'll tell you at least some of the quote unquote modern stuff. I've been in my own way keeping up on like some of the Toonami stuff, like Assassination Classroom, Naruto. Of course, Naruto's already done, but they're still showing it on Toonami. I was watching Black Clover, but from what I just found out the other day, Black Clover is now going on hiatus.
Thank God.
I actually liked it, but
I liked it too, but I felt this is a story about, hey, let's take an idea. Cool, no problem. Let's take the cow. All right, let's put it through the meat grinder. Cool, no problem. Let's make hamburgers. Okay, great. Let's take the hamburgers and make other hamburgers from it. What? Like, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going.
What about non-anime? What about
like Western anime? Okay, let me get this comment real quick, and then I'll answer that. You're talking about Western anime, yeah? Okay.
Correct.
So let me get this comment, and I'll go there with you. Grave of the Firefly.
Yes. That's another tear jerker. Awesome.
Okay, is it good? Okay,
so now let me answer. Let me answer that good script. Like, I would say probably some of the most recent animation stuff, cartoon stuff that I've watched recently. I did watch like the first 3 seasons of Young Justice before.
Mm-hmm.
And the Green Lantern series, but those are still a few years old. Those are like right now, anything that's on right now. I'm not even watching TV, so like I'm like, what I do is I now stream more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to necessarily reveal my streaming sources.
Probably a good
idea. But I basically set up my own. I have like 2 blocks that I do. I have a block in the afternoon, my own Toonami block, you know, and then I have like a nighttime block, my own Adult Swim block, and I go to a particular site that I like to use, and I'll stream. But a lot of the stuff I stream is still older stuff because what I'm doing is I'm trying to more or less recreate an experience there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got you.
Now, one of the things I recently did with my afternoon block is I recently started going back and watching a lot of the DC based cartoons.
Okay.
So right now, I just got through I'm right now in the midst of watching kind of the Superman as part of my block. The Superman Aquaman Adventure Hour, and then I'm right now working on seasons 2 and 3 of the New Adventures of Superman. And then once I get through season 3 of the New Adventures of Superman, then I'll move on to the 1973 version of Super Friends. And then so I'm going to basically, as part of my afternoon block, I'm going to be doing basically a DC-a-thon, basically, where I'm basically going to go through. I forgot about the Fleischer Superman cartoons in the 40s. I didn't include that, but I started in the 60s with the Filmation stuff, and then I'm going to basically, in chronological order, be watching
Max Fleischer.
As in Fleischer Studios, as in the company that did
and did
Popeye.
Popeye.
Same
Popeye.
company that did Popeye the Sailor Man.
Well, you know, I know cartoons.
Big
I was
doors,
like,
big
my
doors that
brain slowly started to get there. Like, Max Fleischer cartoon, Popeye. Yeah, okay, yep. I'm with you.
those
Yeah.
are those were well into syndication on like Channel 5 out here in California when I was growing up. So
I know Channel 5. We talked about that Channel 5, KTLA, with God, what was his name? That always Saturday mornings he would do the Popeye stuff all day, and he wore the little sailor's hat. I forget
That's
his
awesome.
name.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish when I eat my spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
That's awesome. For myself, I'm watching a lot of modern day stuff because I'm very interested and kind of figure out where the trend's going with that. Most North American animation I'm following is a lot of Warner Brothers stuff, especially with the most recent re-release of Superman just came out. Basically, it was a complete re-release, a retelling of the Man of Steel in more modern days time. And I gotta tell you, it was absolutely awesome. Plus, on top of that, Deathstroke came out as a major anthology with all the different series they held together, put together. I really think that a lot of DC stuff recently is finding new footing and new ground because he's sort of gotten rid of a lot of the parent the parent controls in that, like swearing content, stuff like that, which I think that in today's time, if it's used correctly and effectively, can actually really bring a lot of interesting content to the foreground of things. But however, I'm finding out if anyone could say shit, damn, fuck, and really get into the more gruesome of things, it loses effectiveness really quickly.
Mr. Hop,
Yeah.
ask Batgoat what my particular view on a lot of the swearing is.
Oh, I'm assuming you don't. I'm assuming you don't like it. Again,
He
just
doesn't. He doesn't.
I personally think that if a character calls for it, it's important for the character. I think if it's used just for the sake of using it, that takes away from the effectiveness of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times what I'm talking about is like, and you know of people too that where this situation kind of happens, where it's like it seems like 2 out of every 3 words. It's like either every other word or 2 out of every 3 words is a swear word.
Yeah,
and it's kind of ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I just bleep. Now imagine if there was an actual real life censor button out there that you could push, right? Imagine listening to a conversation like, yeah, you know that girl was such a bleep, and she's so bleep and bleep bleep bleep.
I know, Mike, we know, and so someone is going. It's not me because I have no talent. I would love to, but like someone is going to like be anti-CalArts and just like even make stick figures that move and like just do G-rated, just like fun, like toodly doo, like cartwheels and like pull my finger or just dumb type stuff. That this is my prediction that we're going to have to back it up to a G-rated level, to where people are going to start putting money in that because they are oversaturating the CalArts, that new Star Trek, that
STD
abomination, whatever that is, with like
STD.
hey, I'm gonna fucking drink vodka on the whatever deck. Like,
who knew that Star Trek would follow the oval oil?
It's
well, it's kind of funny when I was just scanning down to see what videos were on YouTube. Not that I ever sat here and watched it, but Mecha Random, who I think is a Star Trek YouTuber.
I love Mecha. She's my girl.
There was this one, I guess, video title I saw on her, I guess, talking about Marina Sirtis, who played Counselor Deanna Troi on Next Generation, where apparently Marina Sirtis was saying something about, oh, I hope RBG's ghost haunts ACB.
She's it's not even where we are here in the last 2 weeks before the election, but like Martina Sirtis has always been a weirdo. She's always been a lefty weirdo. Like, and I don't mean lefty in a bad way to like insult my friends. She's taken her politics to a point where like she says weird things and she insults people about it.
No,
and it's not
that
cool.
seems to be a lot of Hollywood right now, though. That seems to be a lot of
fans. She has fans from back in the day, and for her to like. It just like a lot of Hollywood actors are doing. Like, if this is the way you think politically, we hate you and we don't want you to see our stuff.
You know what's kind of funny about that statement too? 2-bit Batco. It's kind of funny because somebody actually kind of somewhat called me out on this. So one of my earliest VA profiles that I did was on Brian Drummond, who's a voice actor with Ocean Studios. He's known for playing the role of Yasu in Nana. Let's see. Trying to remember. Trying to think of somebody, but basically he's somebody who's done a lot of work. Okay, done a lot of work out of Ocean. Okay, you probably would know any of his voices. He was Benny in Black Lagoon. Yasu. So, but anyways, so back when I did his profile, right, there was no and I do quite a bit of research, as you guys know, into when I do something.
Yep.
Okay.
Of course you do.
Now and I looked through his social media profiles. I looked through his Twitter. I looked through his Facebook. I looked through everything. At the time, he really it seemed like he tried to stay out of politics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then we find out later, because Yellow Flash actually did a video on this. Apparently, earlier this year, he decided to kind of, I guess, throw his hat into the whole fire himself, making some statements about Trump and all that. Okay. And one of my other subscribers, Doodlebug.
Yellow Flash sees everything. You don't play.
Well, I would definitely love to try to get him on here sometime. Tried, but he's been too busy. So, anyways,
awesome.
I did it 2-bit, but the thing
you
is,
called me 2-bit, Mike.
What was that?
You called me 2-bit.
No, oh wait. Well,
it's okay. Keep going. Mike. Keep going. I'm just playing with you, dude. I'm messing with you.
Sorry, there are times that stuff will go over my head.
I know. I'm being mean. I'm sorry.
No, you're not being mean, especially compared to when I went on Nick's stream a couple weeks ago.
I heard about it. I wasn't there. I heard about it.
Yeah, but
what happened?
I mentioned it quite a bit too. Not but what's kind of funny, and I was telling
the call-in. He actually talked on Nick's stream. I came in later, and I heard some other people, and like chat would like it was a couple K. There was quite a few people there. It was winding down, and then the next time I came on talk with Mike, he was like, people on Nick's chat were being mean to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, dude.
I mean, not that I'm really losing sleep over it. Not that I have lost any sleep over it. I mean, this is the first time I've even mentioned it since then. But a good thing came out of that too, because before that call in, I was at 88 subscribers, and then you know what happened.
This way, I've been a Nick fan. I subbed to him at like 8, 9K before double. Like I've been with all these people for so long, and when the first time that Drex came on, everyone loves Drex. Drex is the greatest. We all love Drex. First time Drex came on, I know the chat. I know the chat. I can speak for the chat. Do
And
you know
that's
what
where
I'm
we
saying?
met.
I saw the N-word
Oh
so
no.
many times. The first time Drex came on, and I know Corona has this tape, so like we can bring this up. There's no need to. I'm just saying, like, the chat is weird and it's mean,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's a
Yeah, and they kind of follow
thing
Nick.
that like
Kind of follow Nick's lead on that. I get that,
not
and
even Nick. I'm just saying the chat in general, even your chat. You have 4 people, 5 now that are your chat, Mike. You know that. Like what I'm saying is the chat is a weird nebulous thing that can be mean and it can be wonderful at the same time.
Mhm.
I mean, I understand.
It's live, and the thing is that it's kind of difficult to control stuff when things are live. And the thing is, it all depends on how much control you need on your broadcast. And the
Oh,
thing
I,
is
I
that
I
aspect is a direct derivative of actually knowing your actual production and what you wish to draw from that. If you wish
Very
to
true.
draw a live, visceral connection with your audience, that's up to you. If you wish to have more control over it, again, that's up to you. It all comes down to what form of production you wish to go through. The thing is, there's no right way or no wrong way to do it. It all depends on what your goals are for your broadcast, and that's more
And there's
important.
people like EBS,
Oh,
Van Skyver and Comsky, and you go into that chat, and
I still love to talk to that guy for a
I
bit.
don't consider myself a centurion. I never say hail. I don't like that. That's just weird. It just weirds me out. But I love going there, and I've seen like just well, there's weird things that have happened, but like someone just gets out of line and says something stupid and like
Mhm.
all caps it, and like the whole chat attacks that person.
Oh,
It's
as I said
ugly.
before,
It's ugly. It's like piranhas. The chat is like an amazing killing machine
it
when it's working right.
It completely is. Like again, it depends on the discipline and what you wish to broadcast and who your audience is, and most importantly, where's your money coming from? Eh?
Right.
It
Right.
comes
I'm
from a bunch of people who are
so
toxic,
that
and
part of it doesn't really matter.
yeah, exactly. But it all depends on what you broadcast. Like getting back to stuff like Ethan Van Skyver, I find him funny.
I love EBS. I love him.
That his broadcasting what's what I'm looking for here environment is very unique into itself, and the thing
Oh
is that's part of all of that. Plus on top of that, it's a
Right.
bunch of kids jumping on board saying, well, what silliness can we do? Because if you look at the content that Ethan Van Skyver is really broadcasting, it's like it's all about Ethan. Is there anything wrong with that? Of course not. Ethan's making the monies. The things that's like what he's publishing. He's publishing a alien frog that has cybernetic parts to it. So
Mhm.
it was
But
level
he also
90s,
he
which is
also
even more funnier.
he,
Well,
he
like one
puts out,
one
he
one of
puts out the other artists,
Yeah.
that can't get a voice anywhere, and like that's my thing about CG. And I
Yeah.
haven't bought any of their comics. I'm
Yeah.
such a hypocrite for saying this. Like I mean this, but he puts us like people that would not ever get a voice because of
Oh
politics.
yeah.
Blah, blah,
And
blah. Like I love that, but it's such a small, gnarly group. And like when I go in there, like people know me, people know Bat Goat when I go into the EBS chat. But at the same time, it's scary. Like you don't want to say the wrong thing; they will kill you. They will destroy
well, it
you.
all depends on what the individual and what their broadcasting wants from that. Again, the thing is that a lot of people are not media savvy, they're not media trained. And the thing is that again, this really shines through in people who are getting involved in YouTube stuff because again, it's like, oh, I'm talking to a friend. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
Honestly, like Mike,
let
I'm
me
sorry to cut you off, but like I see what I see EDS and Comicsgate as is like you guys know the movie Pirate Radio and
God. Yes.
I've
the
never
thing
seen it.
about the guys, with that stupid thing off the coast of England and like real pirate radio from the 60s and like people are like, okay, yeah, like we don't have to do what they say, and they is like the majority of the corporations and blah blah blah. And so like when I buy a CG comic, which I never have, but I did buy Tugs. I do have Tugs comic book. But I just sit there and I try to support just by being there. Like I think it's a small, cool group of like people that are different.
I haven't
from the
been
mainstream.
as much on Tug streams as much, only partly because of course I've been trying to do my own thing, but also, I really couldn't care less about the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. Mainstream Hollywood is not the thing. But as I talked to you the other day, that goes, and I was talking to some of the other guys, I do bring up a lot about escapism and the idea of wanting to like venture. I mean, I talked about Access, right? Wouldn't it be nice if Access was to come right here and open up a portal and I could go right into the DCU? But it's one of the here's a funny thing too.
Yeah.
A lot of people are calling me the comics guy, right? The funny thing is, I didn't necessarily read comics growing up. I still don't per se read comics on a regular basis.
Yeah.
The ironic thing with me, my interest in the comics, particularly the DCU, came from the fact that I grew up watching the Super Friends cartoons.
Yeah.
And I wanted, of course, and now granted, I watched I watch Marvel comic cartoons as well. I mean, Batgoat can tell you I'm a pretty big cartoon encyclopedia as well.
Oh, I picked up on that quite
very
quickly.
much. Very much.
I grew up watching Super Friends.
I'm a cartoon fan, as everyone knows.
Yeah, I mean, so in that,
Mike, can I stop you real quick?
Go ahead.
Who cut your hair?
My barber.
I think that's a personal question to ask, Mr. Batgoat.
Did you actually go to the barber? Did your dad do it?
Well, I'd rather not say too much. Let's just say that I do go to a barber that I've gone to for years.
Okay, awesome.
I still go to now. Okay. But for me, it's one of those things when it comes to my hair, I'm kind of a very simple mind about it.
I know, but like
it's an all or nothing kind of approach. It's like when I get tired.
You had this awesome salad thing cooking.
And then I just shaved it all off.
I'm sorry, Mike.
The JD, so the JD and AH thing is going to set I think precedent, not president, that females who drag a man's name
through false accusations.
Yeah.
Yes, Toys. You are right. You are right. This is major. This is major. You cannot punch a guy and then say he hit me, and the whole world goes ooh, wife beater. Like this is proof.
Right. Well, when John lost, what was his finger or his thumb through a fight with his wife, I kind of went,
yeah, dude, the finger thing. We all saw the picture.
It's like, okay, look, I've been around a couple of times. I know when domestic disputes take place. I know when fighting takes place. But when you lose a fucking limb, Victor automatically goes to the individual who lost that limb.
Okay. anyways,
I was a paramedic. I picked up a lot of
Yeah.
bad,
um,
but it was there was never a digit removed. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Sorry.
getting back to what I was getting at before, though, with my interest in comics came from my love of watching Super Friends growing up, and also that idea of wanting to escape what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
So if, let's say, you have the idea, you want, let's say you want to, whether you want to go to another country or another world,
Mm-hmm.
a la the DCU, you want to learn everything about it. So what do? You go. Now, granted, trying to read every single, like, okay, I'll put it this way: comic books themselves,
Yeah.
started back in 1933. DC itself, as National Allied Publication, started in 1935. That's 85 years ago. Trying to read 85 years worth of comics,
and the thing
you're
is,
not going to do it.
And it's
you
also
can try to get through the synopses at best.
It's not
but
consistent. It keeps changing as well. Reboots, rehashing, starting
multiverse, yes. But I started. I found this one site called Mike's. I was telling you this earlier. I found this site called Mike's Amazing World, and I have a few other sites I use, like DC Database and all that. And so I'll read a lot of the synopses. And there are some interesting things about comics themselves. That as I was telling you earlier, some of the comic books we know of today as features, like Action and Detective Comics, they started out as anthologies.
Yeah, exactly.
And good stories. But the idea is, so I'd go to that one website I told you about, because they'd have synopses of some of the comics.
Yep.
And I'd read the synopses and try to build in my own head the world, right? Try to get a good visualization. I'd go to other sources like the Atlas of the DC universe to kind of try to get more of a visual impression of, like, the physical landscape and all that. I mean, I'd go to some sites. I'd try to figure out, okay, when is their birthday? Like, what years were they born? I mean, getting all into that.
No, I dig it.
And as I was looking into the DCU and getting into all that and getting to the comic side of it, of course, I was also, noticing certain things. That's how I became so well versed and knowledgeable about the comics code.
No, that's a wonderful thing to have in your toolbox. It's absolutely fantastic.
As we'd gone over the last, because a couple of weeks ago, as I said, I started in the middle of the week, and then we even talked about it on Friday, where I started a little bit of a series, as it were, on Fridays, on those nights when I don't have guests on.
Yeah.
Where Batgoat's been part of that, where I'll kind of go through, we'll go back in time, we'll see when the on sale dates, like when we last did it, which is last Friday, we talked about, kind of the end of 1935.
Yeah.
And I was showing kind of like some examples of what comic books looked like back then. I'd go to the site, show some of the synopses, but I'd also go, like, okay, in 1935, there were only two publishers at that point: Eastern Color and National Allied Publications. National Allied was a company that eventually became DC Comics.
Yeah.
And by the end of 1935, they were publishing two comics: New Fun. Well, actually, by then it'd become More Fun. And New Comic. More Fun started out as New Fun, and then eventually became New Fun, or More Fun Comics, and it ended sometime in the 50s.
Gotcha.
New Comics became New Adventure Comics, and then became Adventure Comic, and ran pretty much from 1935 all the way to 1983. In fact, one of the supplemental blogs I use is from this guy named Steve Thompson.
Yeah.
who his whole thing is about the history of adventure comics. And in Eastern Color, the other publisher I told you about, they started in this. Actually, this was the first regular comic book that was published.
Gotcha.
Famous Funnies.
Yeah.
Famous Funnies
I heard of this. Yeah.
It basically had a whole bunch of reprints. Okay.
Mhm.
And Bat Goat can tell you this too. We went to, I actually went
No,
to
I can't.
Silence.
I went to some of the.
I'm completely
we
lost,
read
Mike.
off.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I said I'm completely lost. I'm sorry. I can't back you up.
Well, okay. I'm talking about, you know how the last couple of weeks when I haven't had guests, how you and I have kind of gone through some
Hey guys,
comics.
right back. Okay, just give me a quick second, please keep talking. Right back.
All right, cool.
You remember how the last couple of weeks we've gone back and looked at the golden age of comics.
Yes, which I love. You know, I love that.
That's what I was telling Mr. Hop there. I was telling him about.
I know. I was just playing with you, Mike. Mike, I was just playing with you. You know, I do that every once in a while because I'm a jerk.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there are times I'm good.
But I'm a funny jerk. I'm a funny jerk, and you know that. Like, I like to have.
And that's why I'm not getting that upset about it. I may be quite literal, but
thank you, Woody.
I know you're not doing anything to be. There's no malice in what you're doing.
No, Mr. Hop's having a good time with me.
Yeah. And that's a big part of it too. It's like, but here let's.
Woody, you rule.
Autocorrect. What's up, y'all? Smash the like. Thank you for that, Bat Goat.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, that was you. Anonymity, I'm back. Woody liking it, Bat Goat. Yeah. I mean, for me, like obviously, as you know this because you've been on, I try to present a niche newscast that doesn't focus quite as much on the negative side of it, trying to put some positivity into it, trying to use my knowledge of like niche history as well to kind of helpfully hope. The hope is to spark the interest. Okay, I think everybody here who's here right now would agree that we don't like what's currently going on in comedy. We don't like the whole woke agenda, the whole agenda push. I think we would all agree.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
I look, when I was doing my research before on DC Comics, and I looked back at it, and I remember what I saw in like Super Friends, even what I was watching earlier today with the Superman cartoon, right? And I look back at that stuff, and I'm like, that would be a really cool place to be. And I want to spark that in others too. Rather than getting angry at all the stupid woke baloney, why not harken back? And you may have even known this because you're one of the mod, you're a mod like I am on Tug Stream. I've said this to Tug before too. Instead of focusing so much on what's going on now, why not harken back to the past? Why not look back to like older, simpler times? Now, granted, not to say that they didn't have their fair share of agenda pushing either. I've mentioned a number of times of how in the 40s there, I see you, Mr. Hop. I'm in the midst of a.
I know. Keep ranting. But I'm listening.
He's ram.
One of the points I pointed out was how they brought FDR into a number of DC in the DCU. He was the one who was responsible for creating the All-Star Squadron. He was also the one who assigned Tex Thompson, aka Mr. America, aka the American Commando. He commissioned him to go to be a Black Ops guy during the end of World War II in the DCU. Okay, I'm sure many now. Tex Thompson was one of the minor characters. He was like the third, like in order of, let's say, in order of fame, right? In order of prestige.
Mm-hmm.
The first issue of Action, and the top three characters from Action Comics from issue 1 were Superman, Zatara, and at this time, Zatara,
really? Okay.
John Zatara was originally on Earth 2. Yes,
Gotcha.
the father of Zatanna.
Yep.
They never explained exactly how he got from Earth 2 to Earth 1, but he was originally.
It's magic.
And then Tex Thompson was number 3. Now, Tex Thompson, his character evolved throughout his run.
Yeah.
Initially was just simply Tex Thompson, a Texan who was kind of what I call a playboy adventurer.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we could hear you.
Okay.
Tex Thompson was kind of a playboy adventurer, something like Barry O'Neill and a few others. He didn't wear a costume. He was just normal individual who had normal fighting skills. Could handle a lasso, a whip, and a rope. And then at one point he did
also a badass.
At one point,
straight up American, fucking 30-30.
How do you know he's not Canadian? How do you know he's not Canadian, eh?
Go read the stories.
You think so?
Oh, possibly.
He sounds like a Texan to me.
Well, that sounds like very Calgary, if you know what I mean.
That's true. That's a good
Yes.
point. You do have some badass Canadians. I'm not even gonna.
Oh, we do, especially from the Second World War, etc., blah blah blah.
I've been watching a lot of videos on Canadian units in Second World War.
Yeah.
Wow, did you have some brutal fighters that went unrecognized?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, there were some badass Canadians in World War II. I'm not
there definitely was. But however, Mike, what do you got here?
Well, Bat Goat, you want to read this off because this is your quote. Can you see it?
Yeah, but you guys agree? Modern state of cartoons is political and makes people mad. And that's what I was saying. Like what you were saying, I was just asking to the chat. Like I like talking to the chat because the chat, as I always say, like chat is always right. The chat is a thing.
Chat there, my friend. Anonymity replied, "I agree. SJWs are ruining all media and entertainment with fake diversity. Yeah, forced fake diversity it's divisive."
Yes.
There's another one of your chat.
Yep. I personally think just to add even a more delicious curveball to things here. I personally don't think it's
lasso and whip. I'm sure he's Mexican. Well, they're actually in the golden age of comics. There was actually in DC there was a hero by the name of the Whip, whose base of operations was in El Seguro, New Mexico. And and now apparently the modern Whip, or what was the modern Whip at the time, which was late 30s, right? Well, he got his inspiration from a previous hero who went by the name of the Whip, but wasn't called but the previous version was not called the Whip. He was called the Spanish word for it, El Castigo.
El Castigo. Dig it.
Nice.
Dig it. Well, as I was going to say, again, I like to throw a fresh curve on a couple of things here. That I don't think it's the social justice warrior people that are screwing things up. And please bear with me as I verbitate my thought.
Explain.
Oh, I will. I personally think that it's board members sitting around a board meeting having no idea who they're going to sell their product to. I also think that as these large corporations, here comes the important part, they're looking for a write-off. And this is why they keep producing this shit.
Oh wow, dude. Yeah, you know, I've
That's
heard that
that's
from
what
other
I
people.
think that's
It's
the
almost like
one
Tim
two
Pool,
punch.
saying,
more of a
like this
pick.
is such a joke. The Democrats are trying to lose because they're going to like. I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost a like this can't be real. Oh, it's
Oh,
real. They're actually doing it.
personally, my personal opinion, I don't think that it's right or left-wing politics. I personally think that when it really comes down to it, the individuals who are running the ship do not know who their actual clients are. And I think they're using it as a complete write-off. And they don't care what they produce, because if they cared, they'll make sure that their product would sell. But they don't. And everything
So
I've been
no
seeing,
idea.
exactly.
Just
So basically,
about money.
what I'm seeing,
Just about
exactly what I'm
money.
seeing time and time and time again. This is a loss. This is a loss. That's a loss. This production's a loss. This toy line was a loss. So forth and so forth and so forth. Because
But
one of
they
the things
still
I know
make
from the,
money off it.
well, this is the funny part. They do, especially if it's a write-off. Like, and the thing is that what really brought this to the forefront of my forefront with me is that there was an animated production, something about giant robots in Detroit. I forget what the name of the production was called, but this is some of the most original stuff that I've ever seen. And the thing is that it was fun to watch.
Oh,
And
wait, are you
basically,
talking about Megas XLR?
yes, that's it exactly. That's it exactly. And the thing is that this was well written, well animated, the whole 9 yards. But the thing is, it was brand fresh new. You know what I mean? Like, basically, it's a merge of both
Sounds
Eastern
like
and
Josh
West.
Baskin talking about a fucking building growing arms in the movie Big from 1988.
Well, there's definitely that.
Already been done. Did I
But the
say
thing is
that?
that, but the thing is that what came from all of this is that, again, with the title that Mike just pronounced for me, the studio made that production at a loss on purpose. And the creative team that actually made that particular production wanted to get the intellectual property back, but the studio won't let them have it unless the actual loss has been paid in full. So the thing is, then I start thinking, going, okay, now we take a product like Thundercats Roar. What was the biggest thing behind that?
Shit. My shit's
And-
dying here, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll be back. I'll be
Yeah.
back.
No problem. And basically, super long story short, it's done for a loss. And I think this is what a lot of these large entertainment conglomerates are really doing. But again, we won't really know until several years down the line when they've claimed bankruptcy and we can see exactly what the numbers are showing up. That's what I think. Because again,
Well,
comparing stuff.
it probably is a mix of both. It's like
The
because
thing is- yeah.
it seems like there are corporations that are sitting there listening more to the SJW, suburban white college kids
Well, the thing is that
in
I
mommy
think,
basement.
yeah. Well, the thing is that as I like to, follow that rhetoric, I personally think what it comes down to is that those salespeople then don't know what they're doing, and now it becomes an incompetent issue. So the thing is, if
Well,
I'm
I
paying
mean,
someone,
that's where we get the
if
whole
I'm
get
paying anywhere
woke, no
between,
broke, right?
if I'm paying, no, this is the funny part, and this is where I sort of step away from a lot of the, I'm going to say YouTube rhetoric, and basically start explaining where I'm coming from with things. If I was a corporate overlord and I'm paying some schmuck who's earning in between 40 to 60K per year to produce crap, that schmuck will be fired, regardless of the political views, regardless where they come from. And that's the way it used to be back in the 80s and 90s. It's like, you produce a failed product that not make this company money, you're fired. Pack your shit, get the fuck out. Done. Any discussion. Because the thing is that when it comes to corporation, they see one color, and that's green to make money. So the thing is that why are these corporations doing this over and over and over again? Because again, when you talk about a corporation,
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
They
All
have one function, and that one function is to make money. If that corporation is not making money, then everyone needs to be fired and rehired and move forward, copy paste, repeat. Period.
Yeah, I mean that's I know that's what Tug has talked a lot about in the comic industry.
And the thing is that, again, if you look at where the actual entertainment's coming from, it's probably the perfect example. It's happening with Rooster Teeth right now. And again, bear with me. This was an animation company that truly loved what they were doing before idea politics got involved. But the thing is, then they sold themselves to a larger company, being Time Warner, and then Time Warner sold themselves to AT&T. AT&T could not give a flying fuck when it comes down to the adjectivity of the creativity aspect. Why? Because they want to see the production company make money. Doesn't make money, it's gone. Ta-da!
It sounds a little bit like what happened with in the realm of pro wrestling. It sounds a little bit kind of like what happened with WCW when Ted Turner ended up selling to Time Warner. Because I've told you there are a few podcasts that I've been watching on YouTube of late, like from like Tony Schiavone, JR, and all that. They've talked about, like, particularly when they're talking about like the WCW in the 90s.
Yeah.
What they were talking, a lot of what they were talking about is a lot of the corporate heads, the people who weren't Ted Turner, they actually didn't like wrestling.
Of course they did. They hated it.
Did not like wrestling.
They hated it. And Ted Turner's going, "We're doing the wrestling." No, the well, I'm not pronouncing it right. The wrestling? No. Shit.
Wrestling.
That's
wrestling.
It. Wrestling. We're doing the wrestling. Everyone's going, "What in the fuck are you talking about, Ted?" I like the neck holds. They're good.
Yeah. Anyways, there are a few chats here, so let me get to those real quick.
No problem.
Riri makes me from Woody.
Yeah.
The core just hiring SJWs, corps, I guess, corporations, just hiring SJWs that hire their friends.
And that's what happens too.
Yep.
Nepotism.
Yep.
All that money woke culture been making them. That's why you have a bunch of titles in DC that got canceled.
Well, not quite titles. 600 jobs got cut over at DC Comics.
Wait, what was the last one, Mike?
We've talked a little bit about that on here too, and I know Yellow Flash, and I know a number of people have talked about how apparently some of the higher ups, I guess they brought some financial guru in to like totally clean house.
Your product line sucks. You have 6 jobs overlaying each other. Time to break out the diamond.
Okay, corporations are pretty open about their woke culture nowadays.
Oh, of course they are.
I think
until it makes them make the money.
You missed the. I think you missed the chat above that one, Mike.
Huh? No, poop fart.
Yes, poop fart. That's what
we're relating towards this.
You want to read this one too, there, Batgoat?
No. You say this, Mike. Go ahead.
You guys see me mute and then squeeze one out. Yeah, wasn't this kind of a similar thing to why you were saying I needed to?
I farted and I muted my mic.
Probably for the best.
It's a good thing.
Heels using international objects in matches. Yeah, the good old and I know what Woody is referring to. He's referring to the late Baron Michael Scicluna. He was probably one of the first ones where oftentimes during his matches he'd sit there and use like brass knucks or something like that.
That's cool.
So they started calling them foreign objects though, because Baron Michael Scicluna was from Malta.
Oh, gotcha.
So, Stanky is woke. AT&T been following that model.
I see you, Anon. That's funny.
I missed Batgoat. Ha ha ha. Man, these are now really farted and muted his mic this time. Yeah. Well, No, in this case though, ATC, that's no Mike. Yeah, I know because again, I use in the title of my stream here, the
Mike,
Mike
you have a
stand.
small chat, but I played them against you. There's a fart joke happening in your chat right now. It's no biggie.
Yes, yes. Now I don't know if you guys ever did this when you were kids,
I'm sorry.
right? But
What's that?
I know that one of the things that would be used kind of as a joke to make it seem like somebody was farting would be doing something like this. I can't do it now, but I remember people would put their hands.
Yo, Mike, come on, give me a fart. You failed bad. Give it to me. Oh, that was horrible.
Well, at least I tried.
You tried, but that was horrible, dude.
I did it better when I was a kid.
Can you do the?
No, I can't do
arm?
that one. I couldn't do that even back
You
then.
can't do it against your arm.
No, I can't.
What about the? No, I'm not like the. Can you do that kind of?
Television.
Like
No, I couldn't really. The only one I could do is just that one.
okay, now, that
was the
wasn't
only one
good, Mike. It wasn't good. And this is your channel. If you can't make a good fart noise in front of your 5 geek friends, dude, come on. You need to.
Yeah, but not.
Mike.
Mike.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Mike
Mikey,
is
let's get back on topic.
quipping on stream. Okay. Well, even again, I can let things loose a bit too, but like particularly after with last week and this week, part of me is still trying to find that right balance of trying to stay on task, but also let things people be who they are. It's like I don't want to come down like a full on authoritarian over it, but I also don't want things to go so off the rails that we're like just totally off topic either. It's like trying to find that right balance is what I've been.
By the way, Mr. Hop, you've been here the whole time.
Oh, I
love you. You rock, man.
You are awesome. I appreciate your time talking because again, we always talk to you in
We're
the
coming up on 3 hours.
chats. I know.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Well, you remember? I think we went what almost 4 last week.
I was on the show with both Crumb and Drexel, and that was a 7-hour broadcast.
Jesus, yeah, I saw that.
I now have a limit of 5.
What's his nuts? What's the angry little thing that we all hate that dates the fat bitch? What's his name? Ron.
Oh, Ron Toy.
Yeah, didn't you have like 2 separate, like 4, 5, 6 hour?
3 plus a bonus for 4.
Oh, good lord!
Or Mr. Hop.
How did you guys like?
Well, basically, what it came down to is when Crumb told me
you were always chill. You were always just like,
oh yeah. I'm just sitting back. See, the thing is that when it came down to stuff,
I'll be right back, guys.
No problem. I'll see the story here. When Crumb came to me and said, "Hey, I want to bring Ron Toy on the show," I went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" The reason why I said that directly is that this is a fucking manlet that wanted to come after my convention, and he was doing everything he can to poison the water well. And I went, I'm not happy. What the fuck is this? So basically, Crumb kind of explains, saying, look, if we get this guy to talk, get him comfortable, he might start saying stupid shit that might be able to help up Vic's case. I went, all right, cool. That's the plan then. So basically, again, 2 polite little Canadians sit back and let the American talk. That's the plan. That's the plan. And the thing is that I didn't have to be right all the time. I just had to be correct at the right times. That's it. And the problem with Ron Toy and a lot of other people that basically like talking about themselves, they start getting more involved. And the thing is that what this opened up is this complete psychological profile on who this person is. And the thing is that when I was first writing about this, I was feeling very remorse for him, because here's an individual, when it comes down to it, at the end of the fucking day, getting rid of all the jokes and everything else in between, all the catchphrases. This is a person who's mentally disturbed. He's taking medication. He is going to a really bad therapist. He is so heartbroken that he's willing to listen to whatever his partner is telling him and believe it at 110% velocity. That's problematic. And to add even things even more, there are certain lines that normal people, in quotations, of course, simply just don't do. And toys cross those lines. And the thing is that if it's not careful, if it's not handled carefully, these lines could lead to other lines that this person might cross. And that's the scary part. And one of the few things that we exposed in the 3 shows is exactly how messed up Ron Toy is. And he said stuff that went completely against his deposition in a court of law under oath. That was the purpose.
He said very disturbing things.
Yes.
He said very disturbing things.
Yep.
It hurt me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm a normal guy. Like, why would you say these things?
He's mentally fucked. And the thing is that what it comes down to it as well is that we've all felt the pressure when people are criticizing an individual, allowed to be you or whatever the case may be. And the thing is that we all felt that crushing aspect. No, just imagine if you take Ron Toy's mentality, you throw that in a larger arena, and basically everyone's crushing down on you. That does not work well late at night. So that's what we wanted to capture, and we got it. It wasn't. It wasn't. No, he didn't.
I don't think he realizes that. Like, okay, so I know the Twitter thing, and he thinks there's people behind him and whatnot, and he may have a couple, 200 to 700 of these weird Twitter fucks that just whatever. But he doesn't realize that there's probably 10,000 of us easily on YouTube that watch Nick and like go between so many different people and know who he is and hate what he hate.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's mentally ill. He's mentally ill. It's like
guys,
yeah.
Let me interject something. Let me also get to these comments real quick. Just want to interject something. One of the nicknames I gave Ron Toy, you guys might agree with this, because when I look at him and when I listen to him, you know what he reminds me of? A hyperactive chipmunk.
Well, the thing is that he does have HCAD. He's on a form of Ritalin or medication for that. And when
you know this for a fact?
Yes, he said that on the show.
Okay.
And like you said,
hold the thought for a moment so I can get to these.
Mentally ill.
Yes.
We demand a less oppressive chat. Okay. I don't see myself as being oppressive, but whatever.
No, it's okay.
Laugh out loud.
Yep. If that was me, I'm sorry.
7 hours. Damn. Yeah, that's a nice little chat with a good old Drexel.
Brilliant work, Mr. Hopped.
Thank you.
From Woody. It's hilarious now that Ron said all this on stream, then went to Twitter and backed out of everything. He was playing. I guess that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Welcome back, Mike. Thank you, ACC. Well, I mean,
weird. Like it's painful. It hurts me. How weird.
Oh yeah.
I'm quite honestly, guys. Quite honestly,
and his shit hurts me.
Oh yeah.
Quite
Chop
honestly,
wood, carry water.
Yeah, guys. Quite honestly, I'm actually surprised somebody hasn't just beat the what out of Ron. Because he seems like the guy. He seems like the kind of guy.
Mike,
who
Mike.
sits there. I'm not advocating it, mind you. I'm not advocating it.
Mike, let me
I'm just
stop you.
saying
Mike,
that-
let me stop you. Here's the thing. You know what I just said? I 24 years in EMS, 21 of those as an advanced life support giving a paramedic. I saw a lot of bullshit. I did 11 years in the Navy Reserve, and the majority of those was as a
That's cool.
field
That's cool.
corpsman attached to the Marines. I've seen a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't. Here's what I think. I don't want to, because I've been trained. I've been trained to like go react when someone goes, huh, I'm shot. Help me. Then I run towards them because
Of course.
I'm stupid, right? The Marines taught me how to like punch people and hurt them, and like I may have weapons too, whatever. But that dude, he's so weird. He's like so weird.
It's like you almost want to feel sorry for him.
Well, the thing is that
somebody obviously wasn't taken to the woodshed enough.
well,
You
this,
know?
wait a second.
Like I don't want to do this to him. I don't want to hurt him. But like every time he talks and he says things, I'm like, how can you?
It's almost like he's putting out on a billboard, please kick my you-know-what because I'm an idiot.
Well,
Basically,
the thing
yeah.
is that, again, gentlemen, when it really comes down to it, again, jokes off to the side, he suffers from mental illness to the point he has to take medication to basically survive his 9-to-5 job. He has to. His mind is going 1,000 miles per second. Here's one thing about yours truly you could balance your checkbook on for all those people who remember what a checkbook is. When I get involved with something, I'm just not correct. I'm 100% right. And the thing is, when it comes down to Mr. Toy himself, unfortunately, that's exactly what's happening. Like the thing is that one of the things I know of 110%, there's a lot of sexual stuff that happens behind the scenes in all forms of entertainment across the board, completely, totally, and utterly. In North America, notice I'm not saying America or Canada, but North America, we like to not look at this aspect of things. And we find it very challenging when this comes to the forefront of things. And one of the few things I said in my first broadcast when we talked about Ron Toy, I brought to the forefront. And people went, oh, what's Mr. Hot talking about? No, that can't be true. Oh, okay, let's fast forward. What just recently happened at Funimation with that Chris guy? What just recently happened at Rooster Teeth on 3 different occasions? Exactly. And the thing is that you're going to tell me that there isn't any sexual energy involved with Funimation, especially
Polanski. Like that's the first time we heard about it. These fucking Hollywood fucks and people that make money and think that they're artistic and shit and think they can do whatever they can.
Let me interject a couple of things here real quick. First off, I do want to make it absolutely clear, even though my comments a few minutes ago were a little bit on the aggressive end, I am not advocating that Ron get beat up. I said was I'm just acknowledging the human aspect of it. I just want to make sure that's perfectly understood.
You see the
I'm not like Ron threatening to come up to Minnesota to pay $40,000 to a lawyer. He said this. We have this. Corona can back it up. I can like go. And Ron actually said, I'm going to spend, what's it cost? $40,000 for a lawyer? I'm going to go up to Minnesota and beat the shit out of Nick. Really, Ron?
Yeah, I mean,
the thing is that again, when Toy said that, I think it was in tough guy mode. because the funny thing is that what
Or
Toy
the
also
sheepdog
mentioned.
mode, right?
Well, the thing is that something that Toy also mentioned is that he says he comes from a life of privilege. When was the last time he got his tooth knocked out by somebody when he was younger? The answer is probably not really likely. The real fights he gets involved with, and top of that, as I mentioned before, he's mentally ill.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think what a lot of people should do is make sure that he's okay. Reason why I say that.
A second point I wanted to get to here.
He
Guys,
really
guys,
is.
guys.
He's in a really bad place.
Yeah.
A second point, though, I wanted to get to here, and this is something I touched on earlier. It may have been this past week or last week that I was talking about this. I think it was when we were talking about the Chris Thurman thing. Funimation just seems to keep digging themselves into a hole because let's look at some of these. Okay, there was Illic Guardiola. Now, granted, he came to Funimation later. He like Vic and like Monica started out with ADV, but he eventually found his way to Funimation. Illic Guardiola, who as a voice actor and as a drama teacher, ended up marrying his student, his 16-year-old student.
Oh no!
Yeah. Then there was Scott Freeman, who was caught. Not he was the first one, but not the only one who got caught with child porn on his computer. Robert Wiedenheft, the brother of Sarah Wiedenheft, also got caught with child porn on the computer. Okay, and DC now as far as I know, I don't think he was actually doing anything with Funimation. He may have hung out with a lot of them because at cons, I'm not aware of any works that DC Douglas has been involved with Funimation. I know he does a lot of work out here in LA, but we know his predilection for venturing into women's bathrooms. And now Chris Thurman and his Funimation has a very serious problem here. This is the point.
And they're also very, very hypocritical too. So like we have these standards we're going to put out the forefront. Anyone who breaks them is going to be immediately terminated.
Have we been effing? Like, has there been a couple Fs? Like my StreamYards thing here is just freaking out, and I have to go back to. Has it been laggy to anyone else?
No. Everything's fine on this end.
Okay. Okay. It's my side. Never mind.
Okay. Cool.
Actually, guys, there are quite a few. I think there are quite a few comments that kind of came in.
Let's have a read of them.
Rocket.
So let's kind of go through that. Let's see. We did see that one, I believe. Let's see. Well, yeah, and I saw that one. Okay. Marky, Monica, and a lot of Funimation are crap. We could do their voices. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there is that little cadre of individuals who are like total or have been acting like total, but there are also a lot of other ones. There are some that I believe that, granted, I haven't outed them as much only because I don't want to see them get assailed for it. But there are a number of, now we know of a few, like Eric Vale has spoken out, somewhat in favor, not like outright, but more kind of on a more general basis in support of Vic. But like, I do know, at least when I left Twitter, I don't know if it's still the case, but I know Colleen Clinkenbeard still was following Vic as of when I was last on Twitter. Brittany Karbowski, who along with John Swayze did that whole that one video last year about I don't know, be kind or whatever. They had that whole hashtag or be there. That was what it was. Brittany, based on what I could tell, what I could see, I thought she may have been more coerced into doing that. There are some that I don't think are really KV, but they're more being coerced by others involved. I don't think Colleen's being coerced. I think Colleen has basically been trying to stay out of it, and she's like lower level management, so she's in a bit of a bind too. Okay, not every, and you notice a lot for the most part. Most of the people that I've even featured as in my Funimation parts of my VA profiles are the ones who either have tried to more or less stay neutral, or just haven't just been involved at all. So keep that in mind. I know everybody loves to dump on Funimation as a whole, and there may be problems up top more in some of their leadership. But let's also keep in mind that not everybody at Funimation is Satan incarnate.
Of course not. Of course not.
Okay, so let's.
How the rest of the chats? Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ron seems like the kind of guy who always has his phone recording when he's talking garbage.
Oh, the thing is that probably not, because if there was, then when it comes down to it, he'll have recordings versus photos of 14-year-olds on his phone. But maybe I'm wrong.
Sadism.
I hope you're wrong, but
who knows?
That motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Ha ha ha! Mr. Hop was slaying in past, present, and future. Some people just have punchable, and Woody, I think, kind of hit on the underlying point of what I was saying about Ron there. There are just times, again, and let me reiterate this, make sure everybody understands. I am not advocating this behavior. Okay, let's make absolutely sure everybody knows that.
No one here is advocating any violence to any one person. You never heard. It's just no violence.
Yeah.
No. There is a very primal and visceral feeling that some people do trigger that at least gives a lot of people the temptation.
In real life,
go that route.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to throw punches.
Because we're people. We're civil people, not animals.
Correct.
Which is basically where I was going with that when I was making the statements earlier. Anyways, we're not advocating. We're just pondering that. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Thank you.
And we have over 100 women coming forward. Yeah. Where are those? I don't think.
Bring those 100 women to the Mike Walters show.
17 and 0 squawk. Yeah,
you know that, Mike, don't you? The whole like
the depositions.
Rackets lost these like the 17 different.
Yeah, I know. I'll say, well, as long as we're on that for a moment.
So Ron would keep saying.
Let me say this. As long as we're kind of on that too. The one that I think if the appeals court looks at the evidence, looks at all the evidence, I think they will most likely turn everything back over to Chuck. However, this is one of the things I worry about. Now, granted, I'm not a lawyer, okay?
Yep.
And it was trying to argue with lawyers that got me so upset that I decided to quit Twitter, okay? But here's one of the things I do kind of understand. In legal parlance, there's a thing they call precedent. That means something when they have a ruling that sets a precedent and sets basically a thing that would basically that people would go back to say, okay, yeah, that's where the thing I worry about if the appeals court upholds Chuck's, okay, thank you for that, TMI. But the thing I worry about if they uphold Chuck's decision is that it sets a very bad precedent.
Of course. And the thing is that, again, with court cases like this, when it really comes down to it, from what I've been a part of or what I've heard from over the years, is that usually stuff like this gets escalated all the way up to the superior court. Now, the question is that, do the candidates have the actual gas in the gas tank to take it that far? Because when it comes down to it, again, something that's been brought up in conversations and broadcasts and stuff like that, Chuck is a bit of an idiot when it comes down to his court rulings. It's to a degree. Based when it comes down to it, a lot of his court cases have been overruled by the Superior Court of Texas, and basically brought back the base. I personally think the strategy behind this is trying to get this to a different courtroom as soon as they possibly can. I was quite surprised that Vic's attorneys decided to have it in that courtroom without really knowing who the judge really is in his history behind things. But of course, that's just a layman looking at the situation overall.
Right.
Plus, on top of that, I'm a really big believer in the following saying: you may have a lawyer that can understand and basically protect you in a court of law, but can you find a judge that can play ball? That's always a tough part. And at the same time here, you have to be really careful who you pick for your judges, if you can. I don't know if you can, if you can't, but again,
I think they just assign a case to whatever courtroom's available.
That's the funny part. I really don't know the inner workings behind that. I don't know if an actual case or an actual attorney could say, well, we're going to take this to a different court or a different judge. I don't know if it's like first.
Well, I think on the initial, no, they can't. I think the cases just get assigned randomly. At least from what little I understand of it.
Yeah, I know. I know nothing about that process at all.
But if as I understand it, if a lawyer has enough reason to believe it, now obviously Nick would know this better than I would.
Yeah.
They can petition to have the case moved to another court. But again, Nick would know that better than I would. But anyways, let me
same here. Yep. Continue.
Let me get these, because we kind of gone off the rails again there.
Yeah.
But he has the means to go to get help and says he sees his own mistakes. He needs to change them himself. Real people work on their own inferiorities. Yeah.
Yes, this is true. This is very true. Unless, of course, you're stricken by a mental illness. Then that's where a therapist comes in.
I have no forgiveness for pedos, child abusers. Yeah,
and the thing is, you shouldn't either. Absolutely not. But at the same time here, it's like you have to judge yourself accordingly then moving forward.
Right. Well, I got into a bit of a heat with Senpai over that because back with the whole in fact, I still have the videos up I did on her on I can't even remember. It was a transgender person over in England.
Like Senpai is in like Senpai is home, that guy?
Right. Pixlexia and I were like two of the last people.
Piece of shit.
You probably know Mr. Hop, you might know, I can't even remember her name now, but there was this
Senpai is over in England, dude. So unstable. I hate that.
Well, after this situation, because I was one of the last people who was arguing that we should forgive this person. I actually have some videos on this person. You might, Mr. Hop, you might remember hearing about the situation. There was this person over in England. I guess they were trying to get some sympathy or whatever. It was discovered that, I guess, why they were still a guy, they ended up at age 12. They were like, I think, 11 or 12 or something like that. They ended up basically assaulting or molesting their younger cousin or something like that.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
I don't know if you remember. I can't even. I know Come Geeksome covered it.
Okay.
But
I am not. I don't really know about this case study.
Oh,
so-
Rookie. That's who it was.
Okay.
Rookie
I-
Joe
I-
Star.
I don't know.
That
this
was
is the
who it
first I'm
was.
hearing about this.
Well,
Yeah.
Pixlexi and I were like two of the last because, like, now the stupid thing I did was again, this kind of goes back to advice even Doug has given in the past on stuff like this.
Yeah.
In these movements, right?
Mhm.
I was arguing the point that as a Christian,
I got this.
as a Christian,
Mhm.
right, we're called to forgive others of their sins, including child molestation.
Damn it.
Okay. I was making that argument, and like at one point, even Senpai came after me. He was accusing me of being a pedo defender, and I was one of the other points was I was arguing that that's also what I believe Vic would be doing. Vic would be calling for people to like forgive him. From the Christian perspective, we are says so in the Bible. Okay.
Okay.
But I know Pixlexi and I were really the last two people who kind of were still sticking up for Rookie, even though a lot of people, including like Cord Crimson and many others, were saying, no, you shouldn't really have anything to do with them.
Gotcha.
So,
I'm sorry. Go. What's that?
I'm playing with my hair right here.
Okay. Gotcha. So
Like,
they're
look
playing
at
with your
the
mic or
mirror,
something.
I'm
okay.
playing around.
Anyways, oh wait, did you?
I'm not
Were you trying to?
you guys? I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna continue with these.
I'm kind of
Well,
full of
I
myself.
basically since just I haven't had any contact with Rookie since, but
Yeah.
but that was a big controversy towards the end of last year or back last fall.
Gotcha.
I have a few videos on that, but anyways, I forgot about the bathroom stroller. Hey Mike, oh, that was real nice, back goat. And yes, I know you're kidding.
Oh, did I say that?
You apparently typed that, yeah. Hey Mike, you suck.
Oh shit, that wasn't me, Mike. I did not say that. That was like my evil twin brother that said that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mike. I was just playing with you.
Yeah, I know. That appeals court has had over a month to chew on the case. Decision could come at any time. Hopefully, they kick things back to the lower court for entertainment. Well, yeah, I mean, but Nick had even told us that once they get to the appeals process, it's going to be kind of a bit of a dragging situation.
Oh yeah, it's basically court
And
cases take a long time to judge over, move forward with, and stuff
Right.
like that.
And one of the things I was even warning people about with this as well is you knew that particularly around the time when the hearing was going to happen, Kick Vic was going to go on the attack. They were going to start going after people again during that time. I mean, I haven't heard anything from Kick Vic in forever. And then I've kind of just, because there's only maybe one or two people at this point who are really even saying anything more, trying to push it, so far. It's like, but it's kind of the same. They're just trying to gain control of the narrative at this point.
Well, the thing is that I like to add two tools in everyone's toolbox when it comes down to the whole Kick Vic thing, and they quite simply are the following. If Vic was basically convicted of the things that Kick Vic says he does, he wouldn't be able to cross the Canadian border. That's one. Especially, I like playing with numbers. When there's 100 women who are basically coming to the forefront of things. So
100 women we haven't seen yet.
Well,
we
the
haven't
thing
heard
is
from yet.
that there's 100 individual cases, and there hasn't been one reported to the cops. And the thing is, if that was reported to the police, Vic wouldn't be able to cross the border. So there's that. The second aspect is that the whole auspices behind Kick Vic is to protect the women, the children, everything that's good. All right, cool. No problem. Where was Kick Vic's outrage when that Chris guy, the people from Funimation, the people from Rooster Teeth got their hands caught in the cookie jar? Where were they? nowhere to be found. So right out the gate, they're hypocritical. So
Well, right. Well, I mean, well, look at the now. Granted, in the kind of the case of the Illick situation that I mentioned earlier, that one's a little bit different in that you have to understand age of consent laws and all that with that one because it wasn't like, you know. But
well, the thing is, and the
okay,
wait a second, and the Chris thing, just to be very brief here. After when he was told that the person that he was going after was 15 years and younger, he still pursued.
Yeah.
And the thing is that's just the basic aspect of things.
But the thing I want to bring up with Illick, because when I had discovered that Illick had at one point dated Monica, because how that all came about was I was watching Flash's stream that night when he had everybody in there talking about the whole thing. And I was, of course, trying to see, Illick was one of those names I knew. I wanted to see what he was saying about it. I was trying to see if he had a Twitter feed and all that. And lo and behold, that's how I found out that he and Monica had dated.
Oh wow! Okay.
And then when I brought this up to Flash covered it, I covered it, a lot of people covered it when we found out. And then Monica comes out and said, "Well, nice try, guys, but I dated him back in college." After we exposed the fact, because I knew that I knew Illick's situation, that he had basically ended up marrying the girl they had arrested him for being involved with. So but anyways, let's get to these.
Of course,
if that was legal behavior by the garbage team and it's deemed legal, I'm going to engage in legal behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't understand where that's coming from, but truth, Chup seems lazy. I don't know. That's one of the things I was saying too. To me, Chup seemed a little bit lazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh wow, Senpai fell off. Used to watch his. I watched him a lot earlier on too, but I just after the whole blow up over the whole rookie thing, now I know he's been hanging out on Crow Stream a bit.
He's anti-hero. Hero Hey,
he got it.
Hero Hey is a good dude. Hero Hey is a good.
Oh, I agree. Hero Hey. Senpai, Senpai is I guess he's seemingly, from what I've heard, gone off a bit off. I mean, he has issues with Hero Hey. He supposedly also has issues with Yellow Flash and with Tug.
He's got a hard on for Hero, and Hero is a good dude. And Senpai, Hero's got 200K, right? Or like whatever his followers are. And Senpai has like 20,000 or something. And he puts up these notes like, "Hey, should I go after this person next?" Ooh, yeah, Hero. Or
it's kind of funny. Senpai almost seems like the evil that we've been looking at for the last year and a half. He seems more like he's Kick Vic than what I stand with Vic. But
correct.
Again, not that those things really matter anymore. Yeah. It was Gat Boat.
Gat Boat.
Who probably said that, "Oh, Mike, you suck," I guess.
I want to ride on a Gat Boat.
And also another thing about Kick Vic that I picked up on as well is that a lot of people that push Kick Vic in a certain position or in a certain way, I think they're getting paid, which is even more hilarious. So the thing is, if you think about every follower that backs their play, are they getting paid for their time or not?
Probably.
Well, again, as I said, now granted, I haven't been paying attention, but I think because I know even Come Geek Some stopped really covering them.
Oh yeah.
I very rarely hear anything about Kick Vic. I don't even think
the thing is that we won't, and I'll go on record and say the following: we won't until the court case gets kicked up again, because again, someone at that point in time is paying someone to say something. And at the same time, we found out there's a couple of actors in this play that doesn't mind spending money properly.
couple. You know of actually people who are actually paying.
No,
them to do
I'm just saying that a couple of actors that are involved in this play don't mind spending money in certain situations.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. And the thing is that if you watch what we said about before, I think the answer will be quite self-evident.
Okay.
What's going on?
Anonymity says maybe the KV side got jobs.
That's possible as well. Hopefully,
Well,
they're getting jobs of licking doorknobs, especially in their pandemic time, because we're going to make sure those doorknobs are COVID free.
I don't. First off, from what I understand, I don't know if who is it? What am I thinking of here? Not Mars Girl. The one who has paranoid schizophrenia.
Oh God, which one? They all seem to have it these days.
They all have it. Mars Girl has it. Jamie Markey has it.
The transgendered girl who was caught kissing those two 15-year-olds at the con.
Oh God, I've got no idea.
Oh shit, dude. Oh God, I can't remember the name. I know what you're talking about. I know the story.
Yeah, I don't know if she could even, because of her I mean, it was actually Come Geek Some who actually originally told me, or who originally was saying that she was a diagnosed schizophrenic. I can't even think of her name now, but
I hate when I'm right. I really, really do. Again,
Yeah.
I have my own issues.
But I don't think I don't
however,
think that one could actually hold down a job, because she actually is diagnosed as being a paranoid schizophrenic. But that just goes to show you how much I've been paying attention to these people recently.
Well,
I can't even remember.
That's one of the few things that Goat will understand is that when I use the terminology screwball, a lot of people have forgotten.
I've heard that term, dude. That
Awesome.
I'm not that much younger than him.
Yeah,
I'm 45, so
there we go. Yeah,
Monica can pick them. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
If they're getting paid, that's so sad.
Well, the thing is that, again, hired guns in Twitter, no problem. Make sure you have a following. Make sure you got a couple of friends that work at the main office on your favorite social media platform. So if you get eaten off the platform, your friends can bring it back, type of thing. Couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. There you go.
Oh, Mr. Hop always bringing that hot stuff. All of them.
Always a touch of spice.
Ren. It wasn't Ren. That's not who I'm talking about. But
yeah.
Hey, Mike. I need to jump in here as your co-host. I guess I am. It's been 3.5 hours, and I think I actually do want to go see Nick a little bit, and maybe the other people.
Yeah, I know. So I've been letting these the last couple of weeks. You want me to do history?
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it might be a good time for us to start winding down a bit here. So
that would be great, dude.
I start charging my $200 per hour rate at the 4th hour of things.
Oh yeah. We don't want to do that.
No.
All right.
My charity does have limits.
Let me just do the quick review for myself to get, and then
No problem, buddy. It's all good.
Oh yeah. See. Yeah, I usually don't like going this long either, because it just kind of gets into.
It's been a good conversation, so hey,
yeah,
it's all good.
I mean, we were having fun there roasting them, but
yeah, hey, I'm just glad we covered all the things that you didn't want.
Thank you, Anonymity. That's exactly who I was thinking of. Montello, L.J. Montello, Lynn Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I was talking about, Montello. Anyway, so today being Friday, October the 30th, 2020, let's take a look back on this day in each history.
Ta-da!
So first off, we're going to go back about 20 years ago today to October 20th, back when there were back towards the end of the Monday Night Wars in the realm of professional wrestling. Okay. All right, there we go. On this date in the year 2000, first off, from the Bren Event Center in Irvine, California, the day after WCW Halloween Havoc, on the edition of Monday Nitro, and the main event of the show saw Booker T retain the WCW World Heavyweight title in a three-way dance against Mike Awesome and Scott Steiner. Also on the event, at the beginning of the show, Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare would retain the WCW World Tag Team Championships over the Filthy Animals members Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio Jr., accompanied to the ring by Conan and Tigress. Reno would defend the WCW Hardcore title and retain it against Kwee, a.k.a. Alan Funk. This is a guy who got paired off with Lenny back then, and they were doing the whole they were kind of doing, I think, the whole, well, Lenny, Lodi, and this guy, Kwee, they were kind of playing up the whole gay angle.
Dig it.
And then some of these other matches, you had Chronic defeating the Perfect Event at Company of the Ring by Kevin Nash. You had Lex Luger beating Marcus Buff Bagwell in minute 43. So that happened on Monday Nitro on this date.
Mm-hmm.
And in the and opposite of that, posing that on WWE on Raw, while WCW was on the West Coast, Raw was on the East Coast, coming at you from the Fleet Center on this edition of Raw. Back on October 30th of 2020 years ago today, The Rock would defeat Chris Jericho to become the number one contender to the WWF World Heavyweight title. You saw Eddie Guerrero retain the Intercontinental title over China. You had Test defeat Crash Holly in a hardcore match. You had Steve Austin beat Rikishi in a steel cage match. Right to Censor members Bull Buchanan, Ivory, and the Good Father, with Stevie Richards in their corner, beat Lita and the Hardy Boys.
Oh, ouch!
And then Steven Richards defeated Mr. Ass.
Oh,
Billy Good.
Ah, the late 90s. I miss them.
I'm so horrible with my wrestling. Who is Steve Austin? Why do I know that name?
Like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Like
Stone Cold.
Okay.
Now, prior to him becoming Stone Cold, he was known as Stunning Steve Austin.
Yep.
In his earlier stint in WCW.
Yeah.
As part of the Dangerous Alliance in the early 90s. Even before then, he was trained by gentleman Chris Adams and actually got his start in the USWA back in 89. Oh. Anyway, those happened 20 years ago today. So now, going ahead 2 years to 2002. On this date, 18 years ago today, in 2002, the 55th issue of Batman Gotham Adventures went on sale.
Wow.
This was a DC comic that was based on the DCAU.
Mm-hmm.
In this story, it was titled Rescue Me, was written by Scott Peterson, penciled by Rick Burchett. The inker was Terry Beatty. Albert Tobias de Guzman did the lettering, and the coloring was done by Lee Lowbridge. So that happened on this date 18 years ago in 2002.
Cool.
That was pretty gnarly. I like that. That's a great comic.
Yep.
2002, huh? Because
yeah,
like that just just the guns in your face type of thing. Like
that's basically back in the day when comic books had to sell. If you didn't sell, you were discontinued.
no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was 18 years ago, and then there's one more piece of history to get to here.
Okay.
Coming up 15 years ago today, in 2005. On this date in 2005, Walt Disney Company's Chicken Little premiered. It marks the first Disney CGI film until dinosaurs. So Chicken Little premiered on this date 15 years ago today.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's all that I was able to find for this day in niche history. Wasn't able to find much anime, so anyways, yeah, I guess, and I know you said you wanted to go over to Nick's stream. Mr. Hop, let's stay in contact, see if we can try. Why don't you talk to Crest about what we talked about earlier about possibly doing, maybe if you guys decide to do an afternoon stream that day on the 13th, maybe I'll come on that stream and then you guys can come on my stream later. And then
again, I'll float the idea by Crest, see what she feels like.
And then you guys can just email me back to her or whatever.
No
well,
problem.
With that being said, guys,
Mike, if I can cut you off, Mr. Hop, it was great being on the stream with you.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
I'm a teeny little bit of a fanboy, and I love watching all the streams. And like now, I feel like I got a little bit of some celebrity shit.
Yeah, no, it's been lots of fun.
Awesome.
Actually, before we go, Mr. Hop, would you like to do any promo right now for
basically again for Crumb's channel, proper links in the proper areas for people like to click on. Basically, we're doing a Halloween, scary Halloween tarot reading. I'll be giving things away. Should be a good couple of hours to spend on Halloween. Plus, on top of the most important part, November 7th is we're having a combination of both. Oh gosh, I forgot what the names are already.
Stan Dolan and Vic.
Stan, that's it. Stan the man will be on the Canuckleheads show, bring some form of voice actor known as Vic something manana or whatever. But however, it should be a great time. I highly recommend people actually circle that. Come on in. Should be tons of fun for everybody. And again, this is our opportunity to talk to Vic outside of the court case aspect of things. Again, should be lots of fun.
Awesome.
All right, and I'll try to make that as well.
Awesome.
Batgoat, anything more you want to add, or shall we just go ahead and wrap up here?
Batgoat on YouTube. I may upload more videos one day, and you can see who I am. Yeah, I'll upload.
I know you have a couple videos though. I know one of the videos is from your paramedic days, I guess.
Yeah, paramedic, Navy corpsman.
And also on a side note, anyone could follow me simply underneath the Mr. Hop moniker name here. So if you want to follow me on the Twitter, simply just type that in and find me.
We'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get through the last few chats here, and then we'll wrap up. And I guess Batgoat decided to take off on it.
Yeah.
and we did say, history. October 31st or 30th?
October 30th.
Today's October 30th, and then
for the history
tomorrow's the 31st.
Yep.
Exactly. Also, guys, don't, and I don't know if it's the same for you guys up in Canada as well. Don't forget, this Sunday, fall back.
Yeah, turn the clocks back an hour. Get yourself some extra sunshine. Yay.
I forgot about a lot of those wrestlers. Actually, it's kind of funny how you were talking about AEW earlier, because I know the guy who was Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn, aka Monty Sopp, is actually he just goes by the name Billy there, and his son is also a wrestler. So as Billy, he's a coach there and a wrestler, and his son's a wrestler there.
That's cool.
Though I did know that. So get rest, Cress. Yeah, well, I'll drop in to say hi tomorrow probably. Does Batgoat have a tweeter? I don't know. No one really. It's my real name.
Happy face. Sweet.
In Canada, it's always the 31st. ST. Okay.
Yeah, all right, there we go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Yep. Thank you very much
thank
for,
you for
having me on your show again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I look forward to bringing you back on, and maybe now I know you have a Facebook account. If I want to have you on, like as I said, I want to try to also at some point mix and match. I want to make this stuff more regular too, having more guests on and stuff. Just that's one of the things that has really been very slow for me. I haven't been able to get the guest on I've wanted.
No, that's cool. That's
for
cool.
various things. So
just keep on broadcasting there. Keep doing what you feel is right. That's all good.
All right.
Yep.
How about that Batgoat? My non-Action Toys Twitter is the toy guy. Okay, and then all right. Okay, well, everybody, thanks again, and I shall bid you all a good night.
See you later.
Bye.